Oh, finally.
With Chase Sapphire Reserve. Discover more at chase.com/Sapphire Reserve. Cards issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank, NA, member FDIC, subject to credit approval.
Oh, actually, I wanted to put your arm like this. Is that a little better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether it's choosing to spend a quiet night in to recharge or making a decision that
And then I'm gonna lift this a little bit.
those moments of intention really matter. And when it comes to the choices we make with our money, that same mindset
A little better.
I've learned that saving for the things that truly matter, like your fine home or a reliable car,
Awesome.
make thoughtful decisions. That's why I appreciate what State Farm is doing with their personal price plan. It gives you the power to personalize your plan and create an affordable price that works for your life. You can bundle your home and auto insurance in a way that supports your journey and your goals. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can choose to bundle and save with the personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
All right, so we're gonna keep everything pretty thin. Thin lines.
And wait.
And at the end of it, I will give you like a little senator wrap.
Okay, sounds good, like last time.
The second spin, yeah.
I get it. Kids grow, seasons change, and somehow they always need 5 new things they didn't need last year. But what doesn't have to change? How much you spend on
Did you need water or anything, or you're good?
I'm good.
Amazon's low back-to-school
Did you order a drink with your food, or?
Oh no, I forgot. I usually get like a Diet Coke,
Okay.
but today I forgot.
You're kind of funny like me. Sometimes I'll just order food and I don't get a drink. And I'm
Yeah.
like, why did I not get a drink?
Yeah.
Or like,
Yeah, definitely. That's such a
but did you grow up like just eating your food without a drink or something like that?
Actually, to be honest, Charlie, when I was growing up, I didn't enjoy food.
You didn't enjoy it?
No, I thought it was such a waste of time to eat. I would play all the time, have no appetite at all. And then suddenly, I came to the US the first time when I was 12 years old. And I feel like once I tasted like the junk food in the US, I just started to, dude, there's something addictive about the food in America. I like gained 20 pounds in 1 month, and my mom was in shock. As soon as I went back to India, she like put me on a diet and put me in like a dance class.
Oh,
And then I
really?
lost all the 20 pounds in 1 month.
That's funny.
And then this, I think some switch got turned on in my brain, and then I started loving food.
Okay.
So and then I would always want a food and drink together. But you know, I used to be able to eat so much. Now I control myself.
Alright.
Yeah. I mean, I could put away tons of food and not gain weight,
Oh,
but now I
really?
can't do that. So I have to be
Yeah, it's
careful.
like life slows us down. It's like either we slow down or life will.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's a balance. You gotta have balance. You gotta have the good and the bad,
Correct.
but then you balance it. The yin and yang.
Correct.
Be a certain way to you based on that.
Sure.
I'm just gonna wrap my machine really quickly.
When they reveal themselves in a positive or like a challenging way?
Challenging way.
In a challenging way, then, well, that's what I'm saying.
What's going on, guys? We're about to do a tag, like, and subscribe. It's always funny. There's like people in the chat, you know, you're like, oh man, what people talking about? Are you gonna talk about anything? Hi. Someone said hi actually.
Oh.
Oh God, it is.
We're about to make a tattoo.
It is so uncomfortable.
Oh, it is?
It is so
Okay. I thought maybe as a multiple that's super chill and you just come in and you go, in life,
Sometimes I forget that like I'm even live. That's like when you do it so often. I'm like, wait, oh, it's not I'm live.
and so do not think of this as me letting you go, but rather think of this as me setting you free.
Yeah. I thought maybe it would be something more surrender. No, then you have to end it with surrender. No, that would be brilliant. But
So it isn't comfortable.
oh, it's so uncomfortable. As in, I've also been.
I want to get a TV for my studio, but I don't want a really big TV. I feel like Like a 36 is ideal, or like a 32 maybe.
Yeah, I think a 32.
Yeah, some people are like, why don't you get a 50? A
No.
50? Why do I want to do that? Then
No
my
way.
studio would just be all about the TV. I don't want it to be that way.
Would you put it there?
Yeah, in that little square. I
Yeah.
think that kind of space would be nice to have it. Yeah, I think that would be an effective spot. Almost kind of like you always would look that direction, no
Yeah.
matter which way you lay here.
And then it's comfortable
Yeah.
when you lay like this and watch TV.
Yeah. I was thinking a projector also, but I feel a projector is it's cool, but you have to pay for a bulb.
Yeah.
But it is multi-purposeful because I want to do like murals and stuff, and if I have like a projector, I can project my drawings really big onto the surface and tell
Yeah.
someone, hey, look, I can paint that.
And then would you, if you did a projector, would you do the entire wall or would you still only focus on that?
I would do a
area?
screen,
Yeah.
maybe where I can roll it from the. I would just kind of have it off the
Oh
wall.
yeah, that makes
and then
sense.
it would
Yeah,
pull
that
down.
makes sense.
Yeah, I would probably do something like that, honestly.
A multi-purpose room.
Yeah. Because then I guess if I do a screen, another thing I could do with a screen is just actually just
How do you find
I don't know. I could
the
just
correct safety to convey?
do
And what I mean
I
by
don't know
that is
photography in here too.
Yeah.
You know, that could be
Yeah.
pretty cool. I do have a camera, so like,
That would be awesome.
yeah, right.
Stability and stability earlier in the conversation. One of the wildest discoveries I made in
Oh,
therapy
13 people here. What's up? We're about to make a really cool tattoo. Hi,
particularly
mutter. Someone said mutter. I don't know what that means.
What's mutter?
I have no idea. But I think it's funny.
and everything's being delayed. You want
I was painting
like
this over here one time and someone's like, crab? I was like, crab, what do you mean? Like, oh, because it looked like they said it looked like claws or something. I was like, I mean, I guess I could see that, but just so interesting.
And yet the flip of the discovery was true. Is that when there's calm,
Just getting the access.
you know, and so I learned that I felt safest.
I'm feeling the tropical vibe.
I felt least safe where most people would. You know, and I learned a lot of that came because growing up in a home where there was domestic abuse, you know, the silence meant you didn't know. Anything could happen at any moment. What's going on? What's happening? You don't know. You don't know. But when something is happening, all you have to do is deal with it.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that,
Do you get
yeah,
it?
no, I mean, that's like, that's such a challenging, difficult idea for people to draw. And so what you're saying is, if I can hear gunshots, at least I know.
Well, I know what you're gonna do.
Correct, yeah, exactly.
So I know where to run away to, from, except you get what I'm saying?
No, I fully get what you're saying, but I'm just saying that that is a challenging concept for people to get around, because if you've not been raised in a space like that, like that's so much to do with your upbringing.
Yeah, okay, but
I'm trying to see how to see you live. I don't even know how to do that.
Oh, it's on YouTube.
You don't
Oh.
love you and how we process it, what our languages are, et cetera, so
What's your
specific.
page?
And even safe
It's going to be called Studio Kogei on YouTube.
isn't the same as your idea of
Of
safe.
course, yeah.
You know, whether it be in a personal relationship, in a romantic relationship, you
Yeah.
know,
I can
somebody's
spell
idea
it
of
for you if
safety
you
is,
need.
hey, you text me
Thank
every
you.
day and you
Exactly.
call me to make sure I got home, and another person's idea of safety is you leave me alone when I'm busy. That makes me feel safe. You take care of yourself, makes you feel safe. You know what I mean? So how do you then find what the person's idea of safety is?
Yeah, well, I think it's what you just said, that there's a hierarchy of needs, right? And everyone has their different, like you said, like the base level when I'm looking at the Vedas, which is what I studied as a monk, and it says that the base level of anyone's motivator is fear and anxiety, right? People get motivated by fear and anxiety, so the lack of fear and anxiety is a sense of safety. Okay, right? Higher than that is someone who's motivated by results or goals. So they feel safe when they're moving towards something. They feel safe when they're driving towards a deadline that is clear and active. Another level is tranquility and calm, and it's like someone feels safe when they feel clarity. Okay. Right? And so it's similar to what you're saying, like I said, so I think what I realized there was that safety was such a base need of humans. Right. that until you fulfill that need, love just, and then this is just experience, right? I'm saying this from experience. I just felt like opening my heart to people, that I'm trying to give love to people in a very genuine way. I just felt that it couldn't fully be received, because I realized most people have probably never received love, even maybe from their parents or their family, or from the people they expected to love them. So when someone unexpected comes along and tries to show you love, it's like, what does he want, or what is going on, or where does this land? And so I was like, oh yeah, reel it back, reel it back, and just figure out safety first. Anyway, that was at least a personal experience. But why did we get there? We got there because we're talking about this idea with you of like,
It's more relatability.
yeah,
Moving through safety and love, and then meeting people and talking about how you will reveal all of yourself early on, so that the person, I guess, is in the safest space, really.
yeah, and that's only my method. And again, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. It's just kind of, and even what you said earlier, like you said, like, Joe, you always feel safe. I think I feel the opposite too. I feel most unsafe when I think I'm somewhere and I don't have a purpose there.
Okay.
So if I get invited to a place where I don't feel I have any purpose, you will see me just like, I will last like 30 minutes and then I will leave. Because then you say, what am I going to do here? I'm not just going to shoot the breeze.
So do you then not doing?
Being in my purpose?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I'm in a space like that, I will look at, I'll be there. Of course, I can have conversations about the course and everything else.
Not crying in a corner.
No, yeah.
I'm saying that you don't, what else would you have to do?
How you feeling?
Yes, absolutely, yeah, because it's a discomfort.
Yes.
It's a discomfort that I have to work on, which is, I don't know why I'm there.
Or were you able to find it, or?
Yes, I'm actually in the live.
Oh, nice. Okay.
You never know, there may be something there. And you have to be open to that. If I sit here and I'm close to that, I may never discover anything. If I'm open to it, maybe I'll discover it, maybe I won't.
How do you find the balance between knowing when to walk away and
It's always interesting,
may present itself?
Such a
I
great
feel like that's the
being in a live or
Yeah.
doing a live, because like no one's like like really there, but it's like virtually. Yeah, it's very interesting.
I'm not having fun. I'm not having a good time. I'm not. And then, as you say, the one idea maybe, hey, stay in this discomfort.
I'm trying to figure out the live and stuff like that more, like showing people like indicators, like hey, like the live or stuff like that. And some people just have it like on their screen.
Yeah.
I stayed in an environment that it was discomfort.
Trying to learn about
And
that stuff.
I thought I was going to get something out of it. I often hear people saying that even, friends.
And also like my hand position, like where should I put it? Am I blocking the whole screen? Am I blocking the whole tattoo?
It's so long there. I just feel like maybe
Sometimes I wonder if camera should be
And then I will say,
above there.
I don't know even if I'm honest, I go, maybe.
Yeah, like a light in a way.
Yeah.
I guess you could do that too. You have like a particular light holder.
Yeah.
Because of that, you had a serverless experience, and you go, oh, that's what I left, because this was supposed to happen. You always infer, you have a confirmation bias. Absolutely. Or you stay and something happens, and you go like, oh, I was always supposed to stay. Yeah. How do you know, or do you accept the fact that you don't know?
I think that's, and you literally just answered.
It's kind of like staying after a movie, I guess, what they're talking about right now.
Yeah.
You don't know, right? And you can only.
It's like if you stay, you might not know if there's a movie ending, or if you stay, it's not even one anymore anyway. Dang
The
it.
difference between, like, if we got here at this beautiful setup that we have, that you're admiring this and you like the energy and I do too. If we got here on Friday, which was when we first started filming this,
Do you like the color of the walls here?
Mhm.
I painted it myself. I was
Oh,
like,
it's beautiful.
yeah, I
And
was
it's
like,
a beautiful contrast.
thank
It
you.
goes with the frame of the mirror also.
Oh yeah, I was like, dang, trying to figure out.
I think Job
The mirror was definitely a gift. I didn't have a mirror for the longest, and someone was like, "Yeah, I have a mirror. Do you want it?" I was like, "Sure."
Gorgeous mirror.
we tend to
Yeah,
spend
nice.
longer than we probably should. Yeah. Because that safety.
But yeah, I chose the colors. I went to Home Depot, and it was like 4 trips of running out of paint, and then going back to get it to buy more of it, and realizing I should have just bought a gallon of each, well, the bigger one of each color, and I would never have to run back and forth. I ran to Home Depot like 4 times. It was crazy. I was like, hey, I need some more of that color. I thought a quart was enough. I don't know why I thought a quart was enough.
And so there's that familiarity and then I know I don't want to leave even though I don't love this house. As a structure and as a space, I don't want to leave. And I think that's what we do with people. But I guess that's a good question for you, that you've always had to find home again and again. You've continued to find it in yourself. Like, how have you let go of previous identities and personalities? And are you, because that's where it started, like, I think I've had to do that a lot of times. Like, even when you say monk, and I always say, well, I'm not anymore. And the reason I say that is because I have to let go of so many parts of that identity that don't serve me anymore. There are lots of parts of that identity that serve me massively. There are lots of parts of that identity that don't serve me anymore. Same with anything, like any work I've done. So I guess today when you're deciding who you want to be, one of the things I'm taking away from this episode for sure, I'm talking to you, I genuinely enjoy talking to you, is you know you're a very smart, intellectual, thoughtful person about what's happening in the world. But what I find really beautiful and refreshing is that today you're doing the same things internally and your inner world. Has that always been a habit? You even said today when you walked in, before we even started recording, you were like, so when I've been on all day, I need to just reflect and decompress and think about stuff. Has that always been a habit? Is there a method you use? Is there an approach? Or is it just something you naturally just don't get in a way?
Well, when I'm not particularly religious, I would have to say growing up religious and still within me the idea that I could have conversations with myself and they were necessary in order for me to process what I was going through. You know, that's what prayer is, in my opinion. It's a conversation that you are having multiple times a day. You are remembering, you are thinking, you are discussing, you are exposing your vulnerabilities, you are whatever it may be, you are doing. In doing that as a little child, you know, getting on my knees and praying, one of my favorite lessons that my mom taught me was that your relationship with God is your relationship with God. You know, if I was in trouble, she wouldn't say to me, pray in front of me, let me hear you pray. No, she'd be like, you go and pray. And so what I'm grateful for in that experience was that my relationship with God was then always my relationship with God. It was my conversation. It wasn't performative. It wasn't. I remember as a little kid, just like asking me random questions. You know, I'd go to bed and I'd be like, oh God, man, why do I break things all the time? I was like, I don't know what it is. Like, I mean, you're here with me. I don't know why. Why don't you stop me sometimes? Like, you know, I'll just be there as a kid and I don't want to break things, but then I broke it. I knew it was going to break and now I'm always angry and please try and make it not as angry. And I'd have these conversations and I would feel different afterwards. I would feel better. I feel like I'd processed something. And there's an element of prayer that I think a lot of people take for granted, is that processing of the information that's oftentimes just running away in your head. Really running away in your head. In that, I just try and ask questions. I tell people, you know, they're like, I don't know if I am, I'm smart. I think I'm more and more confident in being an idiot, to be honest with you. You know, I have friends who I consider smart because I can ask them about anything. You know, I have friends who know about, you know, quantum gravity and whatever it is, space books. I always go reading space books again. I have friends who know about, you know, the deepest trenches of football history. I know friends who, they're smart in my opinion. But I'm proud to say I'm an idiot. And so, when you let go of that sometimes, what I find is I don't enjoy asking questions. You know, and most of my work, that's what I'm doing, is I'm asking questions. As a comedian, I'm asking questions of how we live in society. Why do we accept certain things the way we do? And I think it's funny that we do. And have you ever noticed how? And that's what a lot of comedians do. They're asking a question about something that everybody accepts as the norm. You know, I do it in my job on the Daily Show. I ask questions about how people see politics and why they see politics and, you know, whatever it may be. I ask questions, you know. I remember one day someone said to me, some random person said to me, it's like, oh, it's crazy when you came to this country and, you know, as a Democrat, you probably, I said, whoa, wait a minute, Democrat. In my country, we don't have that. In many political parties, we're not forced into a binary system. That's already, you ask a question, there's an assumption. You know, and so even there is like where I come from, there is not just this or that. America's, it has like a very, very clear-headed vibe to it. It's like, oh, yeah, look at that. And it's like, yeah, but you know, if you voting for these things, shouldn't you be concerned about what you're going for? You know? It's your party. You know? So, but as a comedian, I'm going like, where are the jokes? I'll follow the jokes. I'll tell you that much. That's the purposes of that moment. And this goes to everything I do in life. You know, I've been lucky enough to work on different projects like yourself. You know, work in tech, I work with Microsoft and things. Funny, the president of the company one day says like, we're going to call you the chief questions officer. I said, oh, that's so good. But I've been lucky.
Chief questions officer is hilarious.
A lot of tech is asking questions. A lot of what I do in life is enjoying asking questions and becoming less afraid of how stupid you may seem or feel asking the question. That's oftentimes where I see with kids. The reason they learn as quickly as they do is not just because of their brains, but I feel like it's because they don't have an idea of who they are or aren't supposed to be. And so they ask questions. And they ask questions, and they ask questions, and they ask questions, and they ask questions, and they ask questions. And so what happens is, A, they get answers, but B, they discover that the people who are asking the questions sometimes don't even have the answer. They just assume an idea or the way, you know, the way the world was. And I often remind myself that if I become too tied to the idea of being smart or being informed or knowing, then I'm trapped. I would rather say, I try to be smart, I try to be informed, but if there's one thing I know I am, well, I'm an idiot, and there's nothing wrong with that, and I enjoy it. You know, because then I can be the smartest idiot you've ever met, and I can be the most informed idiot you've ever met, and I'm fine with that. Because I'm just trying to be the most natural me.
That's a good identity. One thing I noticed about the way you ask questions, you know, really good for me, but also today, and something I appreciate is it's whereas I think most people, when you're saying that someone assumes you're identical, I think most people ask questions in order to either agree or disagree with what comes out the other person's mouth.
Yeah.
But we ask our best questions when we simply ask to learn and infer. And so now it's not asking to see whether we're on the same page. You're just asking to know. Because I think what we often do is we ask the question, and even if the base answer kind of sounds similar, oh, we're on the same page. Like, oh, me and you know, we're like, we have the same values. And it's like, well, no, we don't. We just haven't dug deep enough. And I think we're often not patient. And I think that's why in so many relationships in our lives and everywhere, what you said a friend is someone who I know how they be in most situations. And I think when you quickly go, oh yeah, we have the same values, we have the same belief system, that's often incorrect because we just haven't asked enough questions to infer because we really want to feel it. Is that hit or miss?
Yeah. Yeah, that does actually.
I feel like that when you ask questions, and so I'm talking about the you, so when you ask questions, I'm
So
like,
going back to what we were talking about being an outsider, being an insider, where do I find home, where do I find familiarity? You are familiar with this to a certain degree because of moving out of the UK, going to India, you know, going on that journey, and then moving from there and coming to America, it's another. One thing that happens to you when you leave home is that you have to then either find home or you have to understand why this is home, or you have to become comfortable in a new space so that it will be your new home. And the best way to do that is by understanding, is what I find. Oftentimes you are forced to understand if you are in the majority. If the norm is your world, you're fine. Everyone has your accent, but then you don't need to understand another accent. If everybody is your skin color, you need to understand another skin color. Everybody's your culture. If everybody's your language, if everybody's your, you know, socioeconomic class, whatever it may be, then you don't need to understand. And so, what I've grown up with, because I grew up, the black woman, Xhosa woman being my mother, white man, Swiss man being my father, family mixed, country, broken up, separated because of class, because of race, predominantly, I found myself often having to understand whatever it was, language, culture, music, food, idea, I have to understand. And what I found is that is often the fastest path to home is just understanding. You know, hammock is a terrible bed unless you understand how to sleep in it. And I think the same goes for every one little thing. Foreign country doesn't feel like home until you understand the language. And then all of a sudden things start to work. You know, so when I ask a question of you, I genuinely do it to understand, you know, because, you know, with you, I agree that I'm trying to understand more. Because the things I may disagree with funny enough more is like how I'm living my life, and I'm trying to understand more about like how you see it and how do I, you know, it's not to agree or disagree with more, it's like, how do you understand this? And then sometimes with people that don't agree with them, trying to understand. I see the world, it seems so clear to me. Can you explain why you don't see what I'm seeing? You know? That's oftentimes what plagues me as a person is I think we live in a world now where there are fewer and fewer experiences that we all relate to or that we've all gone through. And so while that's great for individualism and it's great for us, you know, living in our own niche, it has robbed us of a collective understanding. And so whether it's in politics or whether it's in society, whatever it is, and I think it's healthy to disagree.
Yeah,
so
do that.
You know, Jay, I don't think that that's what I, but it's another thing to say, you know, oh, that's my parking, no, that's my parking, versus that's my parking, what parking? Wait, you don't see a parking? And now we're in a bigger, and that's what I feel like society is moving towards as everything, entertainment, social media, all these things become more niche. I think we're losing that collective space to be in. So because I've always been outside, because I've never been part of, I've always been forced to understand. Why do you do that? Why do you say that? How do you eat this? You know, so when I'm in India and I'm eating and I go, can you help me understand why you use your hand the way you do? What are you trying to, okay, great. Chopsticks for the first time I have all these things as opposed to assuming or even not being willing to. And so maybe that's why I asked the question the way I do, is because I just don't understand why you see the world the way you do. And once I do, I now get to hold two truths. I get to see how you see the world. I get to know how I see the world. And I may formulate my way of seeing it, or I'll be able to help you understand why I see it the way I do, because I now understand yours. I don't think I can do that if I don't ask.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I was going to say, is that when I was saying learn, that's what I mean understand. Like you're asking to learn, you're asking to understand. There's not an asking to say, yes, we're the same, or no, we're not the same. And I read something when I was looking at this interview about how you were saying, like, because you've never felt of something, you've always felt outside, you've always been able to see the full picture. And I was literally saying this today, that I grew up in a home where my parents rarely agreed on anything. And I was always the mediator.
Interesting.
And so I would sit and listen to my mom and I would understand how she felt. And then I'd sit and listen to my dad. And I always had an equal level of love and respect for them from the individual relationship, even though collectively they didn't have it together. And I found that when I read that about you, I was wanting to ask you about it because I was like, that's where I feel happier learning about people and trying to understand people, because I could see both my mom and dad were right in so many ways. Like I would sit with my mom and be like, how does dad not see that?
Right.
And I'd sit with dad and be like, how does mom not see that? Like how are we missing this part of the picture? And I thought miserably at trying to help the situation. But I think that's partly why I do what I do today, because so much of me was exposed to different opinions. So when I read that about you, I was like,
I'd love to know, how did you deal with that feeling? Like, how did you deal with the idea? I know you saying it's within the conversation, but like, how did you deal with the pressure and the idea that you failed to reconcile what was happening between the two of them?
I think it took me years to accept that and to feel that way. Because I think when you're a kid, it's what you say, you just accept that this is normality. So when I was a kid, I didn't think of it. Well, it's normal. Parents don't get along. I want to help my mom out, I'm a good son, I want to help my dad out. You know, they're figuring it out. And I promise you I spent a good part of like, at least my adult life, so say from, not even an adult, maybe since I was 10, and maybe from 10 to 21, like probably 11 years trying to fix that. And trying to think I could fix that, or that we could improve it. And while things got better,
Sorry to hear that.
yeah,
To your point, because you were trying to create the safety. As a child, I feel like there are a few things that make you feel less safe than your two parental figures. You know, sorry, but carry on.
No,
This
please.
is going on. This is going back to the safety that
Yeah,
you're saying. You're trying
exactly.
to make your words.
Because love didn't work. It didn't matter how many Valentine's days there were. It didn't matter how many romantic gestures. It didn't matter saying I love you or a love letter. But it was safety, yeah. And so I was trying that probably for a good 11 years. And I think when I went off to the monastery, it was still there in my heart. And then I think while I was there, I was like, okay, I have to let go of this because it's not my responsibility. It's not my ability. I don't have the powers to fix this. And that's okay. And that if I'm able to let go of this, then not only will things improve there, I can help people who want to be helped as well. And I think that was a whole like a 15-year journey to get to that, because otherwise you hold it as your responsibility, like this is my job almost.
Yeah, I think that's what many of us have found is we have been burdened with, and oftentimes subconsciously, a job or a role that our parents didn't realize we were burdening us with. You know, oftentimes I find it so interesting how the loudest parents who aren't good at reading a room will have the most shy child.
Yes.
You know, and the parents who aren't good at being outgoing and they'll have kids who are running and screaming and greeting everybody and talking to them, because there's this interesting thing that happens in nature where I feel like, you know, the child tries to correct what the parent may be lacking. You know,
So true.
and it's really fascinating that you say that. Yeah, because what happens over time, you get to an age where then you have to take off, you know, that armor, take off that cape, take off that designation,
A designation, yes.
and understand that now you've lived that, you became the truth, and it's become a lot of who you are today, but you have to let it go. And that I find is terrifying, because the only thing scarier than accepting who we are is accepting that we don't know who we are going to be when we let go of the things that made us who we are today.
Yeah. And that's that not knowing, as simple as leaving a party early. It's that same feeling of discomfort. And like, did I make the right choice? Like, if I stayed here, would it have, if I kept that role, would it have? And yeah, I was doing a client the other day, and she said something really interesting. She was saying, I just never grew up with an opinion. She was like, I just never really had an opinion. And I've known her for some time, so it was a fairly, it was a progressed conversation. It wasn't the first time. And we were talking about it. She said, well, I've never had an opinion on this or that. And so when people ask me what I want to do, or when my partner asks me what I want to do, I kind of like go along with it. But now I'm starting to question, like, am I living my life or someone else's? And it's really interesting because we were really getting into it. And I started talking to her about her parents and family dynamics. And she said something really phenomenal to me. She said that my brother and my dad always used to argue, and I was the peacemaker. And she goes, when I felt pain, I never shared it because it would create more complexity. And so I accept that she came to the conclusion that the reason I don't have an opinion is because it disturbs the peace. And when I don't have an opinion, the peace is kept. And I, you know, those are the kind of things that we're saying, like you take the designation of peacemaker, you take the role and the designation of whatever I was, sometimes the comedians take on the role of being a comedian, because you kind of get on the laugh and everyone, you know. And so I think these roles that we're talking about are really, it's a really beautiful way that you said it, that we adopt this job and this role and this designation.
I think we do. And I often think sometimes it is necessary.
Sure.
I think it may be evolutionary, whatever it is. You know, again, that's why I don't go to, it's bad, it's good. I go, it is. It just is. And in understanding it, I realize there's nothing wrong with it being, as long as you know when to let it go. You know, I often think about seatbelts. When I'm in a car or a plane, sometimes I forget that I'm wearing a seatbelt. I love wearing my seatbelts, especially on a plane. I've got it long before it's like, I'm like, I don't know what it is. I love it.
I don't know what it is. I just love it.
The whole flight, I'm wearing a seatbelt. And what will happen sometimes, I'm so comfortable with the whole time, when we land, we chill, I don't rush to get my bags anywhere. And then I'll stand, and the seatbelt will pull, and it's always like I laugh to myself. It always happens. It's really dark, and it just, as I jump on the cut, pulls me back down. I always giggle and I unbuckle it. And I found myself thinking the one day, I was like, it's amazing how this device is brilliant. It saves your life. No car crash, plane crash on a runway or whatever. I don't know, actually saving a big one, but still, But this thing it holds you now. It's helping you stay intact. It's helping you stay in the place you need to be in. But if you don't know how to let it go when you need to, and you're trapped.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm constantly trying to work on, which is so hard. So it's like, man, I'll go like, okay, alright, my safety, my seatbelts, alright. It might be my personality, it might be the way I see the world, it might be how I've learned to interact with others, it might be anything, how I eat, how I think, what I do, what I don't, what I love, what I love, all these things. And I get that. And I'm always just trying to ask myself, okay, alright, is this still your seatbelt? Or has it now become a traffic? And I always just have to ask myself that question. It's extremely difficult.
You just go round and round.
Sometimes I do. A lot of the time I'll be chilling.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
I don't think I can watch Harry Potter the same again. I don't think I can be on a plane the same again. Like I love how you think. I think it's so refreshing to hear that. And the biggest thing I'm thinking about is just this ability to really question our lives, question things. I think that is the purpose of life is to start asking questions. And what I loved about at least the scriptures I study at Eastern Side, they're all Q&As. Like they're all question and answer.
Really?
None of them are like talking or lecturing or
these are the Vedas you
the Vedas, they're all Q&As. And I think that was a big part of how we were trained to believe that all inquiry was the birth of wisdom. Like it had to be an inquiry, it had to be a conversation. It couldn't be a lecture or a seminar. And I think when I sit with you and whenever I sit with you and whenever I've watched you, which I've admired you for so long, I think that the quality of questioning is really what we should be more focused on than the result and the answer. Because you were saying earlier that if we ask questions we are actually interested in knowing the answer, we'd actually listen to the answer. But we end the show with two segments. There's a fast segment. We've been more than generous with your time. So the first segment is called the many sides to us. And so this you have to answer in one word. And we'll fight it. So you ready? I'm ready. Okay. What is one word to describe what someone would say about you meeting you for the first time? Friendly. Friends and family. Okay. Question number 2. What is one word to describe what someone would say about you that knows you extremely well? Consistent. Okay. Question number 3. What is one word you use to describe yourself? Material. Okay, now I'm going to have to ask you to expand. I was not expecting that word. That is a very, tell me why that word. You can now go off one word.
I'm consistent in the fact that I'm also material. All of it, funny enough, I think was not created by that. As somebody who has ADHD, it took me a long time to learn in life what that did to my brain, how that affected how I process time, an idea, a thought, an object, any inquiry that I would have could be in some way, shape, or form affected by that. And I think, funny enough, there's a huge misunderstanding. Sometimes I actually, hate how we create a lot of the conversations around the mind, is the best way to put it. Because all the terms have become so rote, and some of the ideas have become so simple when they're not. I remember when I was young, I was diagnosed with ADHD, they made it seem like you can't pay attention, when in fact, it's the fact that you can't choose what to pay attention to. Very good at paying attention. And so,
it's a very nuanced, subtle.
It makes a big difference.
It makes a big difference when it's attention.
And so, what's been wonderful for me in life is learning again how to be grateful for how I felt with something. Not even looking at it through the lens of good or bad, but just going it is, and then understanding it like that. And that's what I mean by I think we've really hurt ourselves in society with how we've had some conversations because we've made it seem bad or good, as opposed to understanding, because it may not be the same as the norm, you know, so is a short person good or bad? No, they're just short. And the reason we say short is because they're short relative to the general population. The same as someone who's tall is tall relative to the general population. Now, if you're tall, you may be bumping your head about more than other people. If you're short, you may not be reaching the things that people have put at an average height. I think the same thing goes to the mind. If you are blessed enough to have a mind or mentality that is of the norm, most things will work for you and most things will make sense in life. If your mind isn't, that's why they use divergence. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong, but you need to understand how your mind will react to a world that has been designed in a certain way.
You want the pillow higher?
And so
Is there?
that is why I've learned to understand and accept that I'm material. Again, there's a friend who taught me that, and I loved it. Once I understood it, first I was like, no, I'm not. He's like, no, you're material. First he explained the word. And when he explained it to me, I was like, I'm not that, I'm not. And then I realized I could be two things. I'm extremely consistent. Anyone who needs me knows me. They know where to find me, they know how I'll be. But I'm also material in that how I feel about this on a day and how I feel about that on a day may be more extreme in somebody else's range. And so in that, again, just the understanding and asking the questions of myself, I don't exist in a space where I understand. So it'll be funny, sometimes I'll meet people and they'll get distracted and go, oh, sorry, it's not ADHD or not. That's not what it is, but you know, people have done this with everything. Oh, I'm sorry, I have OCD. It's like, all right, okay.
Yeah, that's not what it, yeah, and so we have these very limited understandings of the world. Yes,
Of what the things may be. And we've also created an idea of them being a bad, good, whatever. It's like, no, it's just understanding. The same thing we did with glasses at some point. Nearsighted, farsighted, I wear glasses. And now, and then at some point it was just, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think we have a long way to go in the conversations we have around the mind.
Yes.
And getting us to the same place where when you meet someone, they can say that to you, and you now understand that, oh, I wear glasses. Okay, great.
Yeah.
You know? Whereas I'm sure there was a point where like, I wear glasses. So you're blind?
Yeah.
So, oh, you wear glasses? Oh, you wear contacts. Okay, cool. That's who you are.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is, that our vocabulary around the mind and our psychology is very limited. And we're spot on it. One thing that you said that really struck a chord is the idea that if the world is designed to be average, then the challenge is that anyone outside of it feels broken. And that's where I think we've gone wrong, where it's like there's a weakness or a brokenness.
Yeah.
It's like, no, if the world was designed for those people, then we feel broken. And it's just that the world has been designed for this few people. If you created a new planet that was for only people who had a certain disposition, then it would be a very different case. Yeah, no, I love that. That's another whole 2 hour conversation. That's another, we'll save that. Yeah, we'll save it. All right, question number 4. What is one word that if someone didn't agree with you or like you, what would they say about you? Not like, I'm not talking about like an internet troll or something. Stubborn, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. There you go. That's a good word. Yeah, that's a good word. That makes sense. Yeah, good. All right, question number 5. What is a word that you're trying to embody right now? Is there like a focus or presence with a particular characteristic or value or belief?
Mindful.
Yeah. Those are great. Those are fantastic. Most people struggle with those. So you hit it out of the park. Oh, these are the final 5. These are easy. One word to one sentence. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Never assume.
Good. Second question. What is the worst piece of advice you've ever heard?
Always be yourself.
That's really,
There's times to be yourself. Don't just be yourself. People say, well, relax. You just be yourself. Relax. You know when to be yourself is a better piece of advice than
Yes.
to give you.
That's good. Question number 3. What is something you used to value that you no longer value? So there was a time when it was important and
Well, yeah, I think I thought that it would give me something that I searched for my whole life, and that was a certain sense of belonging. Because there's a familiarity you have with people when you see them. I never cared for it through the lens of like, I'm better.
Yes.
But I was like, oh man, everyone knows that person. Everyone knows that person. And I was this kid and I grew up knowing for so long. I was like, oh, I'll be familiar. I mean, the word fame, when you look at the roots. I was like, oh, that thing, I'll be familiar. And then ironically, as I said, it jumped straight to your unfamiliar. And so then I realized like, oh man, you don't think that it will come from something
before, how would you define your current purpose?
As being a fertilizer.
For
Everything and everyone I've come into contact with, I would hope to be somebody who enriches the soil that I touch. I would hope to be somebody who improves somebody's life in the slightest of ways. Whether it's helping you solve a problem, whether it's giving you directions in the streets in New York, whether it's making you laugh at a show, talking about politics, whatever it may be, I would hope to do what a good fertilizer does in that it enables the soil to be richer, it enables the plants to grow taller, it brings all of the pieces together. It becomes a food, it becomes a food that creates more food. It's not a zero-sum game. And so I would say that would probably be what I'd like to focus on most right now, even for myself, because fertilizer even makes itself bigger.
Yeah.
It grows itself.
Yeah.
You add more mulch to it, it keeps on growing. And so I think even for me, I look to try and fertilize as much as I can.
I love that. That was one of my favorite answers to that question we had. Fifth and final question of the whole interview. If you could create one law that everyone in the world had to follow, what would it be?
Everyone in the world, right? I'll create a law that said everyone in the world, randomly,
I think YouTube is a little slow today because kids are in school.
the lowest person's bank
People are at
account.
work.
That would be the law, is that we do this weird system where whatever it may be, every year, randomly, the lowest person's bank
I had a couple
account
people just
would
drop
go out
in, so that was kind of cool.
Wow.
The reason I would do that is because I think
At the end of it, I'll check to see the stats.
where more people felt like their fate was tied to the least of us, they would have a little more compassion and think a little more about how those people may or may not be existing. And that's why I say I wouldn't say anyone can't be rich. I'm not saying that. I wouldn't say anyone can't make as much money as they want. Go ahead. We should all be doing and enjoying.
I kind of want to get you addicted to the Anad Syed case. It's really interesting. Do you like true crime kind of
I
stuff?
do, I love it.
Nice. I feel like you really would like it.
Yeah.
It's a really good story. The host, she does a great job at hosting it and keeping everything together. It's really interesting.
I think more than anything, I'm like fascinated by the psychology of people, like
Oh yeah.
why they function, how they function,
Oh yeah.
and why some people in the same environment still turn out different.
Oh, they still come out different.
Yeah. I find that so fascinating.
I guess such as like kids, right? Or something like that would be a good example.
Yeah.
That mine is only mine and yours cannot come with it. So I wonder what would happen in that space. I think in myself, everyone pay a lot more attention to like, how much do you
Yeah,
have?
it's very
Really
interesting
get that
stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to keep my life as comfortable as it is.
Yeah. And the feeling of it could be anywhere else. That mindset.
It's a little gratitude. Like it could always be any of us.
Totally, 100%, yeah.
Luck is the most random. You can work as hard as you want. Luck is a huge factor. You can be the best. Luck is a factor. You can be the worst. Luck is a factor. So it really could be every one of us. And so I don't take for granted that I'm lucky. I work hard. I try and shape as much of the environment that my luck will exist within. Never take for granted that I'm lucky.
But it's one thing I love about you today, that you don't just ask good questions, but you really honor answering questions. And that's a
That's what you work by the way.
yeah. Chloe, that is so special. Everyone who's been listening or watching wherever you are in the world, I hope you appreciated that conversation as much as I did. I hope you could see that we're genuinely just having a good time and getting to know each other and learning and going back and forth. But I think there were so many great insights in this conversation, and I'd love to see what you took away. So please do share them wherever you share them, whether it's Instagram or TikTok or Twitter, wherever it is. I'd love to hear what you learned, what you took away, what you gathered from this conversation, what you collected, what you questioned. Right? I think that's the biggest thing. What did you question? What is the question that you're asking that you never asked before today? Maybe the big thing to Chloe for showing up and
Thank you.
giving all this
I
time.
will admit that I couldn't do this just like this of my heart. I came because I remember seeing a interview many years ago possible to teach me how to breathe.
Oh, well, that's really, I know that. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you for
Thanks,
that.
man.
No, thank you, honestly, yeah, thank you, man. Thank you.
In fact, this is the best.
This episode of On Purpose is brought to you by Chase Sapphire Reserve. I believe that travel is one of the greatest gifts that we've ever been given, and Chase Sapphire Reserve has been my gateway to the world's most captivating destinations. When I use my Chase Sapphire Reserve card, I get 8 times the points on all the purchases I make through Chase Travel, and even access to one-of-a-kind experiences like music festivals and sporting events. And that's not even mentioning how the card gets me into the Sapphire Lounge by the club at select airports nationwide. Travel is more rewarding with Chase Sapphire Reserve. Trust me. Discover more at chase.com/Sapphire Reserve. Card issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank, NA. Member FDIC, subject to credit approval, terms apply. American Public University is the #1 provider of education to our military and veterans in the country. They offer something truly unique, special rates and grants for the entire family, making education affordable not just for those who serve, but also for their loved ones. If you have a military or veteran family member and are looking for affordable, high-quality education, APU is the place for you. Visit apu.apus.edu/military to learn more. That's apu.apus.edu/military. So, I have a question for the guys out there. Does the phrase skincare routine make you think too much work? Yeah, I thought so, and I used to feel the same way, but that's why you need a grooming hack like Dove Men Plus Care Body and Face Scrub. I mean, this exfoliates, cleanses, and moisturizes in one step. It's the ultimate skincare hack. Your skin will look and feel better, and you don't have to work hard to make it happen. Just add the new Dove Men Plus Care Body and Face Scrub into your shower and give your skin a boost.
This is an iHeart podcast.
What a fail. Trying to throw that into this. I'm gonna put on that cereal thing I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Mm.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Join the 3.5 million employers worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent
Alright,
fast.
so it's awesome.
There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/NYT. Just go to Indeed.com/NYT right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/NYT. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
These first 2 episodes of Serial Season 1 are free. But to hear the whole series, you'll need to subscribe to the New York
What?
Times, where you'll get access to all
See,
the
they
Serial
made it
productions
all-
and New York Times shows. and it's super
Even the
easy.
old ones?
You
It's
can sign up through
crazy.
Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you're already a Chime subscriber, just link your account and you're done.
That's how good these shows are, I guess. Like, they were making money. They were like, yo, we can make money on this. Podcasts are already not free.
From This American Life and WBEZ Chicago,
Oh my God,
it's
that's my
Serial.
favorite
One story told week by
Freaking
week.
tea.
I'm Sarah Kogei.
I love jasmine tea.
I love jasmine tea too. There's also this thing called kawa tea, Kahwa.
Is it also pretty good?
It's like from Kashmir, like all the way north in India.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
Nice.
It's just,
Is there like a nice aftertaste from the
it's
drinking?
beautiful, yeah. You'd love it.
I've had to ask about teenagers'
really-
sex lives, where
Really adore jasmine tea. Just the
Yeah.
flavor, the smell.
their drug habits, their relationships with their parents.
Nice.
And I'm not a detective or a private investigator. I'm not even a crime reporter. But yes, every day this year, I've tried to figure out the alibi of a 17-year-old boy. Before I get into why I've been doing this, I just want to point out something I never really thought about before I started working on this story. And that is, it was really hard to account for your time and the details that I need. How'd you get to work last Wednesday, for instance? Drive, walk, hike? Was it raining? Are you sure?
Yeah, this is so
Did you go to
interesting.
any stores that day? If so, what did you buy? Who did you talk to? The entire day, name every
It's like,
person
can you
you
recall
talked
your
to.
day from last week?
It's hard. Now imagine you have to account for a day that happened 6 weeks back. Because that's the situation in the story I'm working on, in which a bunch of teenagers had to recall a day 6 weeks earlier. And it was 1999, so they had to do it without the benefit of texts or Facebook or Instagram. Just for a lark, I asked some teenagers to try it. Do you remember what you did on that Friday?
Not at all. I can't remember anything.
Wait, nothing?
No, I can't remember anything that far back. I'm pretty sure I was at school. No?
That's Tyler, he's 18. I asked my nephew, Sam, he's 18 too.
Not but in school probably. I would be in school. Actually I think I worked that day. No, yeah, I worked that day. I went to school on Saturday.
Actually, on second thought,
I don't think I went to school that day.
you don't think you went.
I would definitely didn't.
Here's Sam's friend Elliot. He seemed to have better recall.
Actually, I may have gone to movies that night later.
Do you remember what you
Now that I'm
saw?
thinking, I'm sorry, yeah, I think I saw 22 Jump Street.
Okay. And did you go with friends?
Yeah. I went with Sam and Sean, Carter, a bunch of people.
Wait, Sam, my nephew Sam?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So Sam says he was at work.
Then it wasn't that night then.
No.
One kid did actually remember pretty well because it was the last day of state testing at his school, and he'd saved up to go to a nightclub. That's the main thing I learned from this exercise, which is no big shocker, I guess, is that if some significant event happened that day, you remember that, plus you remember the entire day much better. If nothing significant happened, then the answers get very general. I most likely did this, or I most likely did that. These are words I've heard a lot lately. Here's a case I've been working on. Almost 15 years ago, on January 13th, 1999, a girl named Payne Marie disappeared. She was a senior at Woodlawn High School in Baltimore County, Maryland. She was Korean, she was smart and beautiful and cheerful and a great athlete. She played field hockey in the clubs. And she was responsible. Right after school, she was supposed to pick up her little cousin from kindergarten and drop her home, but she didn't show. That's when Haley's family knew something was up, and her cousin's school called. About a month later, on February 9th, Hayes' body was found in a big park in Baltimore, really a random forest. A maintenance guy who said he'd stopped to take a leak on his way to work discovered her there. He noticed a bit of a black hair poking out of a shallow grave.
Crazy.
The cause of death was manual strangulation, meaning someone did it with their hands. A couple weeks after that, so 6 weeks after she first went missing, Hayes' ex-boyfriend, a guy named Adnan Sayed, was arrested for her murder. He's been in prison ever since. I first heard about this story more than a year ago when I got an email from a woman named Rabia Chowdhury. Rabia knows Adnan pretty well. Her younger brother Saad is Adnan's best friend. and they believe he's innocent. Robbie was writing to me because way back when, I used to be a reporter for the Baltimore Sun, and she'd come across some stories I'd written about a well-known defense attorney in Baltimore who'd been disbarred for mishandling client money. That attorney was the same person who defended Anand, her last major trial, in fact. Rabia told me she thought the attorney botched the case. Not just botched it, actually, but threw the case on purpose so she could get more money for the appeal. The lawyer died a few years later. She'd been sick. Rabia asked if I would please just take a look at Anand's case. I don't get emails like this every day, so I thought, sure, why not? I read a few newspaper clips about the case, I took a few trial records, and on paper, the case was like a Shakespearean mashup. Young lovers from different worlds, thwarting their families, secret assignations, jealousy, suspicion, and all besmirched. The villain, not a Moor exactly, but it was somehow the same. In a final act of murderous revenge. The main stage, a regular old high school, across the street from a 7-Eleven.
Hi, are you Rabia? Hi. Am I saying your name correctly? Rabia. Okay.
I went to go see Rabia. She was surrounded by paper. Files, loose stacks, binders, and copy-looking boxes. All court documents and attorney's files from Yvonne's case. Some of the papers were warped and discolored.
They look wet. They look wet. These have been damaged because
She explained it was because the boxes had been in her car, on and off, for 15 years. Rabia is a lawyer herself. She mostly does immigration stuff. Her office takes up the corner of a much larger open space that I think is a Pakistani travel agency, but it's hard to tell. It's in this little strip mall. Across the parking lot, there's a new Pakistani restaurant, an African evangelical church, an Indian clothing shop, a convenience store. On the sidewalk outside, I found a teeny-weeny bag of marijuana. Baltimore County is like this, at least on the west side. It's where a lot of middle-class and working-class people go, many immigrants included, to get their kids out of the badass city. Or the badass city is close by. Rabia's 40, she's short, and she's got a beautiful round face framed by hijab. She's adorable looking, but you definitely shouldn't mess with her. She's very smart and very tough, and she could crush you. Her brother Saad was at Rabia's office too the first time I went. He's 33, mortgage broker, more laid back than Rabia. They told me about Adnan Syed, their friend. Not just a good kid, but an especially good kid. Smart, kind, goofy, handsome. So that when he was arrested for murder, so many people who knew him were stunned.
he was like the community's golden child. Oh, let's talk more about that. He was an honor student, volunteer EMT. He was like on a football team. He was a star runner on the track team. He was the homecoming king. He led prayers at the mosque. So he was, everybody wanted to be somebody who's going to do something really good.
I later fact-checked all these accolades because I learned that Rabia was mostly right, though she sometimes gets a little loosey-goosey with the details. Adnan was an EMT, but he didn't volunteer, he paid for it. He was on the track team, but he wasn't a star. He did play football, and he did lead prayers on occasion. He wasn't homecoming king, but he was prince of his junior prom, and this at a high school that was majority black. He took the Pakistani Muslim kid. So you get the picture. He was incredibly likable and well-liked too. This conversation with Rabia and Saad, this is what launched me on this year-long, obsession is maybe too strong a word, let's say fascination with this case. By the end of this hour, you're going to hear different people tell different versions of what happened the day he was killed. But let's start with the most important version of the story, the one Rabia told me first, and that's the one that was presented at trial. The state's case against Adnan went like this. He and Hay had been going out since junior prom, but Adnan wasn't supposed to be dating at all. Adnan was born in the U.S., but his parents were from Pakistan and were conservative Muslims. No drinking, no smoking, no girls, all that. Saad and Rabia's parents were the same way. Their families were friends. But even though Adnan and Saad and their buddies were Muslims, they were also, shall we say, healthy American teenagers who were going to do what teenagers do, so long as they didn't get caught. So Adnan had to keep his relationship with Hay secret. The state used this against him in two ways. First, they argued he put everything on the line. His family, his relationships with the mosque, to run around with this girl. So that when she broke up with him 8 months later, he was left with nothing, and he was outraged. He couldn't take it and killed her. And the second way they used it is they said, look at what a liar he is, how duplicitous. He plays the good Muslim stay at home and at the mosque, but look what he was up to. Saad remembers the prosecutor's closing argument at trial.
His family didn't know that he actually drank, he smoked, he was having sex.
This was proof of bad character. someone who could be a murderer.
It's crazy,
But science says if it runs with anything, it's of being a normal kid with immigrant parents.
right?
So like the prosecution had painted Adnan as a total like a bipolar, like a maniacal, dual personality. Love that dual personality. I mean, I'm the same way. I was like, they could paint the same thing because I was actually homecoming king, which I don't know if my sister even knows. She did not know. So I mean, I was dating a girl that was.
Why is homecoming thing bad? Is that like a good thing? We don't go to homecoming. We don't think it's a dance.
It's a dance. It's a mixed gender.
So I was in the same boat. My parents, my sister, they didn't know about this at all. I mean, right now, 10 years, more than 10 years later, she's trying not. You know, I know. I mean, I was knit. On one side, like my family thinks I'm a virgin, but on the other hand, but it's
TMI, TMI.
there. I mean, it's kind of making her feel uncomfortable. She's like,
So just on motive alone, Sal and Rabia found the whole thing ridiculous. As for physical evidence, there was none. Nothing. Apart from some fingerprints in his car, which Adnan had been in many times, there was nothing linking him to the crime. No DNA, no fibers, no hairs, nothing soiled from the bottom of his boots. Instead, what they had on Adnan was one guy's story, a guy named Jay. He's the third person we need to remember in this one story, besides Hannah Vaughn. Jay was a friend of Adnan's. They've been in school together since middle school. They weren't super close, but they had mutual friends. They sold weed and he and Adnan smoked together. The story Jay told police had problems because it kept changing from time to time. But they were able to bolster the main plot points using cell records from Adnan's phone. By the time I left Robbie's office that first day, I understood only one thing clearly, and that was not the thing that inside wanted me to understand. But what I took away from the visit was, somebody is lying here. Maybe Adnan really is innocent. But what if he isn't? What if he did do it, and he's got all these big people thinking he didn't? So either it's Jay or it's Adnan, but someone is lying, and I really wanted to figure out who. In the early morning of February 28, 1999, Adnan was arrested by Baltimore City detectives. He was asleep in his bed when they showed up at his house. They took him straight from his untidy bedroom to an interrogation room at Homicide downtown. What Adnan didn't know is that just hours before they picked him up, the cops had interviewed his friend Jay.
This is a tape interview of Jay Black,
Crazy.
19 years of age, for the officers of homicide, specifically the Coral Conference Board.
The police recorded 2 taped interviews with Jay, and I'm going to play you the second one from a couple weeks later, only because the sound quality is much better. Just a warning that the tape is a little upsetting to hearing parts.
Why don't you go ahead and tell us what you know about the death of Kogei?
I went shopping with a friend of mine, an ex-friend of mine, and we had a conversation. One of the conversations said, the reason I killed that bitch, saying, hey,
Jay's an asshole.
I didn't, typical context, you didn't stand out my head anymore.
Jay says he didn't take it too seriously. The cops hadn't started going to talk. On the morning of the 13th, Jay says, Adnan had left school and driven to Jay's house. Jay graduated from school the year before and was working, but not on that day. January 13th happens to be the birthday of Jay's girlfriend Stephanie, and Jay, who didn't have his own car, needed to go buy something for her. So Adnan comes over. Pretty day, but does nothing with him more.
where did she do that?
We left the mall. I took him to school. I dropped him off in the back of the school. He left the class. He left his cell phone in the car with me. Told me to call me. I went back to my friend Jay's house and waited in the car.
Okay, now at this point, you know why he's leaving the car with you.
Yes.
And why is that?
Because he said he's gonna kill her.
And the reason you have the car and the cell phone.
Fucking liar.
Pick him up from wherever he was gonna be.
And you had talked about this while you were shopping that day.
The details of the car and all.
The events, how they were going to flat out.
That day he told me, yes, he told me, I'm gonna leave you with my cell phone and my car, and you can come get it. Yeah.
After,
We killed that, yeah.
Later that afternoon, the call comes.
you receive a phone call from Adam
Yeah,
on his cell phone,
yeah,
which is in your possession.
yeah.
And the conversation was what?
That Chris is dead, come and get me, I'm at Best Buy.
Jay drives to Best Buy and sees a man in the parking lot.
I know he wasn't with him, I sat next to him, he asked me to get out the car, I get out the car, he asked me, am I ready for this? And I said, ready for what? And he takes the keys, he opens the trunk, and all I can see is, like, his lips all blue, and she's like tucked up in the back of the trunk, and she's dead.
They leave the parking lot. Adnan's driving Hayes' car with the body in the trunk. Jay is driving Adnan's car. They ditch Hayes' car at the I-70 parking lot, and then, to the Jay tell it, they just kind of cruise around Baltimore County together for a while as if nothing had happened. Buy some weed, cruise around, make some calls. After a while, Jay drives Adnan back to the downtown school.
Why did you take him back to school?
He told me that I had to take him back to school because he needed to be seen there.
So was he going to a certain event?
Practice.
Track practice.
Yeah.
So he wanted an alibi.
Yeah.
He wanted to be seen by people at track.
Yeah.
And you guys had discussed that.
He just told me that he needed to be seen. Yeah. He told me that he needed to be seen at track practice.
You took it back?
Yeah.
Are you having any conversation with that man?
To the fact, yes, don't tell anyone. He said that he couldn't believe he killed somebody with bare hands, with all the other motherfuckers referring to like hoods and thugs and stuff. I think they're hardcore, but he could kill a person with his bare hands.
So at this point, he's bragging about it.
Basically.
He was proud of it.
Yeah.
After track practice, Jay puts him on at the ground. They drive around some more. By this time, Hayes' family was worried, and they called the police, who in turn called a couple of Hayes' friends, including Adnan. Hal comes in on his cell. Cops ask if he's seen Harry or knows what he is. Jay says after the call, they drive to Jay's to get some shovels, go retrieve Hayes' car from the parking lot. They drive around some more, and finally end up at Ethan Park, where Adnan proceeds to bury Hay. It's evening by now, maybe 7 or 8 p.m.
And he asked me if I was gonna help. And I told him, fuck no, and start just shoveling dirt on top of me. After I agreed there,
Wait, stop now.
yeah,
You helped him dig a hole.
yeah.
How long did it take you total to dig the hole?
25 minutes.
How deep did you make the hole?
Oh, maybe 6 inches up and more. It wasn't very deep at all.
Who did most of the digging?
It was, yeah,
Equal work.
I want to say that, but,
Okay.
So those are the key points. Adnan told Jay in advance he was going to do it. He did it. They buried her. Jay's story wasn't just the foundation of the state's case against
Jay's an
Adnan.
asshole.
It was the state's case against Adnan. And the picture Jay drew is cold. And he's not describing a kind of passion here. This is something much darker. To methodically map out the death of your friend. To strangle her with your own hands, so close up like that. That would mean Adnan wasn't just a killer, but a master liar and manipulator. A psychopath, probably. Adnan's in a maximum security prison in Western Maryland. He calls me at my request about twice a week. He got me from a bank of 8 payphones in the rec hall. A pretty large room where other guys are sitting at tables with no seats attached to them, playing chess or cards or using a microwave or watching TV. You can get a little loud sometimes. Once I asked if all 8 phones were always occupied, and he said usually not, because guys are doing for a long time. Often they have no one to call. When I first met Adnan in person, I was struck by 2 things. He was way bigger than I expected, battle-tested and tall. In the photos I'd seen, he was still a lanky teenager with struggling facial hair and sagging jeans. By now he was 32. He'd spent nearly half his life in prison, becoming larger and properly bearded. And the second thing, which you can't miss about Adnan, is that he has giant brown eyes, like a dairy cat. Once it prompts my most idiotic line to include. Did someone who looks like that really strangle his girlfriend? I know. When he first heard Jay's story of the crime, Adnan didn't say, well, it didn't happen like that, or it didn't mean for it to happen like that. He said, it didn't happen. None of this is true, at all. He says he had nothing to do with his murder, and he doesn't know he did. Kay was Adnan's first serious relationship with a girl. He says he loved her in the way of high school love, but then also in the way of high school got over her. So that when they broke up for good, sometime before Christmas break of senior year, he says he was sad for sure, but not obsessed or anything.
I just sometimes just like think about look into my brain and see how I really felt about it. And no matter what else someone would say, they would see, man, this guy had no ill will towards it. Whatever the motivation is to kill someone, I had absolutely, it didn't exist in me. You know what I mean? No one can ever say why. People can say why. Oh man, he was mad, this, that, and the other. But no one can ever come with any type of proof or anecdote or anything to ever say that I was ever mad at her, that I was ever angry with her, that I ever threatened her. You know, that's the only thing I can really hold on to. But it's like my only firm handhold in this whole thing is that no one's ever been able to prove it. No one's ever been able to provide any shred of evidence that had anything to friendship towards it. I love and respect her. That's at the end of the day, man. That's the only thing I can ever say, man. I had no reason to kill her.
He's adamant about this. You can hear it, right? He's staunch. The problem is, when you ask a man to go back and have his version of what happened that day, to refute Jay's story, everything becomes a lot mushier. Yes, he hung out with Jay on the 13th, both during and after school, but he doesn't remember exactly where they went, or what they did, or what time it was. Here's what he's got. January 13th unfolded like any other day, a normal, mostly uneventful day. He says there are a couple of things that do stand out though. That day was Stephanie's birthday. Stephanie is one of Adnan's best friends, and also Jay's girlfriend. Adnan had gotten Stephanie a birthday present, a stuffed reindeer, which he'd given to her in second period, Miss Epping's English class.
And it occurred to me that day that I was going to ask the boyfriend, did he get her a gift? So sometimes during the day, before noon,
Wait, just hold up for a second. Why did you care whether Jay got Stephanie a present? Like, what's it to you?
well, Stephanie was a very close friend of mine, as I mentioned, and it was just, I just kind of wanted to make sure that she also got a gift from him. You know, she had mentioned to me that she was looking forward to getting a gift from him. She mentioned she was really happy to get the gift that I gave her. So it just, as I would with any friend, just kind of, we didn't like to check on him. I kind of had a feeling that maybe he didn't get her a gift. And I had 3 periods during school, so it wasn't like, you know, it was not abnormal for me to leave school to go do something and then come back. So I went to his house and I asked him, you know, did you happen to get a present for Stephanie? He said no. So I said, if you want to, you can drop me back off to school. You can borrow my car and you can go to the mall and get her a gift or whatever. And just come pick me up after a track practice that day.
So then what happened?
Well, then, when school was over, I would have went to the library. I know that I used to check, well, I didn't usually check, but if I was going to check my email, it would be at the using the library computer. You know, sometimes I would go there because track practice didn't start until around maybe 3 o'clock or 3:30ish. But it didn't start right after school. So there was a period of time, of almost like an hour and change. You know, there was kind of free time.
This hour and change after school, this is the crucial window. This is the time when the state says Hay was killed. School got out at 2:15. People remember seeing her after her last class and for a class. According to Jay's story and the cell phone records, she was dead by 2:36 p.m. So sometime in those 21 minutes, between 2:15 and 2:36, she was found. So that's obviously the same window Adnan needed to account for. To quote Adnan, my case lived and died in those 21 minutes. So where does Adnan say he was? Well, maybe the library, but nobody testified to that at trial. Then to track practice, he does remember being at track one day when it was snowing, which might have been that day. The coach testified that Adnan probably was there, but he can't be 100% sure because as a rule he didn't take attendance. After
sucks
school
so
is
bad.
non-specific.
No one knows
Usually
anything.
with events, so you
No
can't
cameras,
I'll be trying back until I know like say 4:30.
no email
Jim
records.
comes to pick up at 9 after class. That part of 19th tomorrow is remembered. It was Ramadan, so his mom would have been fasting that day and hungry.
It probably would have been close in time to the break time. He would have came to pick me up, and we would have went to the family, and we would smoke the week after, right? And then I would have had that in home by like around 7, 8 o'clock. Right? So usually like the last 10 nights of Ramadan, my father was on the night of the mom. So a lot of times I would take the food. My mother would make food for him, and I would take it usually before 8 o'clock, right? So that's the last eating and prep.
Did you ever leave the campus before the end of track practice? Did you ever?
No.
Okay.
No.
You're sure?
I want to say that I'm 99% sure.
Okay.
The reason why I can't say 100 is because, I mean, I think I understand that it comes across as, I don't know if it does or doesn't, but it seems like I remember things that are beneficial to me, but things that aren't beneficial to me I can't remember. It's just that I don't really know what to say. It's, beyond the fact that a lot of the days that I do remember, it's just bits and pieces that comes from what other people have said. That they remember, right?
Mhm.
To kind of jog my memory. Yeah, I don't know what to say. And I completely understand how that comes about. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can say is, man, it was just a normal day. There was absolutely nothing abnormal about that day.
Anon knows better than anyone how unhelpful this all is, how problematic, because it plays both ways. If he's innocent, well, it's any other day. Of course he doesn't remember. But you can also read it out. How come he doesn't remember the day? And no one can fact check him or put holes in his story because he has no story.
Definitely.
It's such like a confusing and also frustrating story, like how it starts. You're like, jeez, how do you not remember this, bro? This is your life. But it's like, yeah, like he's saying, not so significant things happened that day. But from the police perspective, that day was very significant. How do you not remember that?
To remember that day. It's true, because there's nothing I can do, to make me remember. I poured through the transcript. I looked through the telephone records. What else can I do? There's nothing I can do, so pass on other days just when, and it is what it is. Believe it or not, I have no control over it.
Anon's trial was a long ordeal. Gray was on the stand for something like 5 days. A cell phone expert testified for 2 days, a lifetime when we're discussing cell phone technology. There were absences and some bad weather close to courts, so it was 6 weeks before both sides rested. But the jury moved like lightning. After just a few hours, including a lunch break, they convicted Anon of first-degree murder. Rabia Chowdhury was there in the courtroom when it happened. She said his mother was crying, she was crying. Rabia hadn't sat through the whole trial, so the first time she fully understood that the case came down to those 21 minutes was during closing arguments, when the prosecutor brought out a dummy's head and scrambled it in front of the jury. That evening, after the verdict, Rabia went to see Anon in lockup.
And so I went to go see him. So this is the same day he's been convicted. And this is the first time I actually had a conversation with him about it. What's going on? And I was like, the whole thing's turning on these 20, 25 minutes. Like, where were you? He's like, it's just pretty January. In March you're asking me, like, where were you after school for 20 minutes on a specific day? Like, all the days are the same to me.
But then he mentions that there was this one girl, an alibi girl.
He's like, the only thing I could offer is, he's like, I remember, he's like, there's a girl I went to school with who, her name's Angel McKay. He's like, right after I got arrested, she wrote me a couple of letters, and she said she has wishes to my family, and she said she specifically remembers me being at the library, the public library, right after school.
The Woodlawn Public Library is just across the parking lot from the Woodlawn High School. It's not technically part of the campus, but no Gravy.
She said, I gave those letters to Christina to my attorney. He's like, but, apparently it didn't really check out, so he's like, I don't know. So, good on her three sides. So, this is the first time I heard of this girl, Angel McKay. I had never heard of it before. I never had mentioned her before. And you, like, really, what? I mean, I wasn't sure at the time because I thought if this girl goes and the attorney, what criminal defense attorney is not going to check out a potential alibi? So I asked him, I said, do you have a copy of his letter? He said, yeah, I have a copy. I said, send me a copy.
Adnan sends letters to Rabia, and here's what she reads. The first letter, the first of two, is dated March 1st, 1999, but is one day after Adnan was arrested. At the top of the letter, she notes, I just came from your house an hour ago. Dear Adnan, I hope I spelled it right. I'm not sure if you remember talking to me in the library on January 13th, but I remember chatting with you. She says, quote, we aren't really close friends, but I want you to look into my eyes and tell me of your innocence. If I ever find otherwise, I'll cut you down and whip your ass. Okay, friend? At the bottom, she added a little note. My boyfriend and his best friend remember seeing you there, too. That's letter number one. Then the next day, on March 2nd, she writes again another letter. This one's tight, it's chattier. She talks about the gossip in school, the bits and pieces of evidence about the crime that are circulating, what the students are saying, what the teachers are saying, about her visit to his house. Quote, your brothers are nice. I don't think I met your mother. I think I met your dad. Is he ever good to you? They gave me and Justin soda and cake. There's a whole bunch of people at your house. I didn't know who they were. I also didn't know that listeners take their shoes off in the house. Thank God they didn't make me take mine off. My stinky feet probably would have knocked everyone out cold. Why haven't you told anyone about talking to me in the library? She asks him. Did you think it was unimportant? You didn't think that I would remember? Or did you just totally forget yourself? Adnan says now that he does, in fact, remember seeing Asia in the library. The thing he remembers about it is so high school. Asia used to go out with Adnan's friend Justin, and Justin had confided that Asia was a proper young lady. In other words, just not enjoying it. So Adnan remembers thinking he would not have to tease Justin about seeing Asia with a new boyfriend, or the new guy was getting lucky. Anyway, Rabia calls Asia up. It's been a year since she wrote the letters, but she agrees to meet.
And she told me that day after school, I went to the public library, and Adnan was sitting at a computer, checking email or something, and I sat there next to him, and we started chatting. And Adnan was a very popular boy in school. He's handsome and popular with the ladies. So she was speaking to him and her boyfriend.
We get in there, we get in there. Soon the shading will be. I'm just making sure the lines and stuff are all here.
Why are you talking to him? You know, as high school kids, you know, why are you talking to him? Is he hitting on you? And she remembered very specifically that day she went home with her, she went to her boyfriend's house with him. And they got snowed in. And they snowed really heavily that night. And she remembered that for the following 2 days, school was closed. So she had very specific details about why she remembered that day.
Asia wrote out an affidavit on the spot. In it, she says she and Adnan spoke for about 15 to 20 minutes while she was waiting for her boyfriend to get arrive. Quote, we left around 2:40, unquote. Remember, her was supposed to be dead by 2:36. And then the kicker. No attorney has ever contacted me about January 13th, 1999, and the above information. So, benefit of the doubt for a second. Maybe Adnan never actually showed the letters to Christina Gutierrez, his attorney. Sure, he said he did, but who knows? Well, I know. Deep inside Gutierrez's notes on the case, and boxes of such stuff, there's this in her handwriting. Asia plus boyfriend saw him in library, 2:15 to 3:15. Then there's another note, dated July 13th. It's more than 4 months after Adnan's arrest. This is written by one of Gutierrez's law clerks who visited Adnan in jail. Quote, Asia McLean saw him in the library at 3. Asia boyfriend saw him too. Library may have cameras. Why, oh why, was this person never heard from at trial? A solid, non-crazy, detail-oriented alibi witness in a case that so sorely needed alibi witnesses. I can't ask Christina Gutierrez because she died in 2004. So I put that question to a few defense attorneys. And they said, well, alibi witnesses can be tricky, especially if it's just one person. Then it becomes one person's word over another. A single witness like that can backfire under cross-examination, or they might take the jury's focus away from the weaknesses in the state's case. So there are conceivable strategic reasons why Christina Gutierrez might not have wanted to put Asia McLean on the stand. But what is inconceivable, they all said, is to not ever contact Asia McLean, to never make the call, never check it out, never find out if her story helps or hurts your case. That makes no sense whatsoever. That is not a strategy. That is a fuck-up. When I first heard about the long-lost Asia letters and the lawyer's mistake, I thought, well, their fight is over, right? They've got an alibi witness who was never heard from. It's such a slam dunk. They're done. It's such a slam dunk. They're done. Adnan's family hired a new attorney who filed a petition in court based on the Asia affidavit. The His argument was that Anand's trial could have turned out differently if Gutierrez had checked out Asia's story, and so Anand should get some form of what's called post-conviction relief. The new lawyer figures he'll get Asia to come to the hearing to vouch for her story. By this time, Asia had finished school and moved away. He finds an address on the West Coast, tries calling, sending messages, nothing. Finally, he writes a letter to her, given it to a private investigator, who goes out to Asia's house in hopes of delivering it. Asia's fiancé comes to the door, opens it partway, tells the investigator that she cannot speak to Asia, but that from what he knows of Armand's case, Armand is guilty and deserves the punishment he got. Later, the investigator gets a call from the fiancé. "We don't have to talk to you, leave us alone." So Anand's lawyer calls off the search for Asia, figuring once a witness turns on you like that, it's too risky to keep pushing. And then, at Anand's hearing on the new petition, it comes out that Asia had done the very thing they dreaded. Asia had called one of the prosecutors in Anand's case, named Kevin York, and undermined her own statement. This is from a recording of the hearing. Mr. York is testifying on the witness stand.
A young lady named Asia called me. She was concerned because she was being asked questions about an affidavit she'd written back at the time of the trial. She told me that she'd only written it because she was getting pressure from the family, and she basically wrote it to please them and get them off her back.
I don't know what happened to her and why she would do that.
Here's Robbie again. She says it's not true that Asia was worried into writing that statement 15 years ago, and she can't fathom why Asia would discredit her own statement like that.
Can you imagine like hearing this later in life? Like imagine you just like, oh, I'm living my life and that's me. They're talking about me right now. Crazy.
Something like this up. You know, I didn't even know she existed until after the conviction. What do you think happened? Why would they have this sort of violent reaction to helping out Amanda? I don't know. It was really odd.
So who knows what would have happened if Asia had shown up? Maybe it wouldn't have made a difference. After all, they had the original letters and the affidavit. That's all that she mattered. But it didn't look good. It'd be natural for the judge to wonder, why can't the defense produce this Asia person? Why is she making this call to a prosecutor? I mean, anyone would wonder. I wondered if maybe she was pressured into writing an affidavit. And I wondered if she was hiding something. Like maybe she'd lied in those 1999 letters. Maybe she didn't really see Armand at the library that day, and had just wanted to insert herself into something exciting. And maybe now that she was grown up, she wanted nothing to do with any of it. So 3-4 months after I first sat down with Rabia, I'd become fixated on finding Asia. I'm like a bloodhound on this thing. Because the whole case seemed to me to be teetering on her memories of that afternoon. I have to know if Adnan really was in the library at 2:36 p.m. Because if he was, the library equals innocence. It's so maddeningly simple, and maybe I can crack it if I can just talk to Asia. I read her a long, gentle, pleading letter and send it off to an address I found online. I'm calling people who know her or who I think might know her. I'm checking the same loops at Facebook, My Life, LinkedIn sites over and over, trying for clues about where she might be or how she might think. If you're wondering why I went so nuts on this story versus some other murder case, the best I can explain is, this is the one that came to me. It wasn't halfway across the world or even next door. It came right to my lap. And if I could help get to the bottom of it, she might try. I start writing down all the other information in Asia's 1999 letters. She mentioned there were security cameras inside the library. So my producer and I went to see the very nice manager there, Michelle Hill. Was there a security system back in 99 that could have been checked at the time?
Probably. Yes. I'm going to say yes.
And what system was it?
I have no idea.
It was a old system. Okay. You think probably video?
It was video. And that was probably set up. Everyone knew for the videotape in. So, but
And you guys recycling the videotape?
yes. It ran for, so you had a Monday tape, a Tuesday tape, a Wednesday tape, and so forth.
So even if on the very day that Asia had written her first letter, Adnan's lawyer had run out to find a security tape, it probably would have been non-existent by then. But what about the computer Adnan was supposedly using to check his email?
To use a computer, did people have to sign in, like write their name down?
They did.
What was the system then?
piece of paper and pencil.
Was by any chance were logged meticulously and kept for 15 minutes, were they?
No.
We got nothing. Then there was the mystery of Asia's boyfriend Derek and his friend Gerard. All winter and spring, every time I went to Baltimore, I went to Derek's mom's house looking for him, and to Gerard's window tinting business. And then finally... Alright, so you are Gerard Johnson.
I
You don't know how excited we are to be talking to you. I've been looking for you for like 4 months. You didn't do anything, but we were hoping maybe you remember this moment. On January 13th, 1999, do you have any memory, by any miracle, that you went to Woodlawn Public Library branch near Woodlawn High School to pick up Asia McLean with your friend Derek?
I have no idea. Asian McLean. Is that a person or what?
It's a person.
No recollection of it.
Scratch Gerard. Derek was my last hope. Eventually I called him at home. Considering I woke him up, he was exceedingly courteous. He showed me a photo of Asia and him all dressed up. They dated most of senior year. What's up here?
Yeah.
You guys both are really beautiful.
Yeah. That's my that's Asian. Yeah.
But Derek couldn't remember that day either. Shocking, I know. He used to pick Asia up from school almost every day back then, either from the library or from the front of the school. And he says he spoke to a lot of her friends, just to be polite.
And it's very possible that we could have spoken to the gentleman and her on that day, but it's very hard to remember, 15 years later. But it sounds, very, it sounds like this definitely could have happened. I don't think Asia's not the type of person that would lie, just she's definitely not that type of person, to get involved with a lie. She's not that type of person. So she, it seems pretty credible.
One day I got a call on my cell phone from a black camera. You guessed it, Asia. I wish I could say that my charming, persuasive letters had prompted Asia to call, but the truth is she never got my letter. I had the wrong address. But she was calling because I followed up weeks later with a one-line email, and she was responding to that, and I was confused.
I have a couple words that you want to chat about it.
I recorded our conversation on the cell, which is why the sound quality was so loud. Sorry about that. Asia is now a 33-year-old stay-at-home mother, and she has not spent the last 15 years worrying about her man and where he's guilty.
I trust the court to do their due diligence, and I was never questioned, I was never informed of anything pertaining to the case. I don't know why he was convicted.
Asia said she was spooked when the private investigator came to her house. I don't know if that's why she didn't testify at the hearing, or why she made the call to the prosecutor, but she told me that when she got the knock at the door, quote, that was not cool. Because to her, if our man did do it, quote, the last thing you want is a murderer being pissed off at you, knowing where you live. But she had a remarkably clear memory of what happened on January 13th, 1999. She had an internship at the time, and so she got out of school much earlier than everyone else. Derek was supposed to come get her at the library along with Gerard, but they were very late. She remembers seeing a man come in after Woodland went out for the day.
I know she did, he sat at the table, and, we weren't, really close friends or anything like that, but, we knew each other, and, we just chatted or whatever, and I can't remember. I think I must have asked him how he was doing or whatever, and he said fine, and, he told me that him and hey, I broke up, and I was like, oh, that's a bummer, and I was like, what happened? And he was like, oh, well, she was seeing this other guy, some white dude, and, but he was pretty chill about it. He was just like, well, she doesn't want to be with me, and that's fine, I just wish the best for her, and that kind of attitude, and
I'm not sure why Ava's memory of this interaction is so clear all these years later. My best guess is that because she wrote it down at the time, in those letters and in the affidavit, that the details somehow stuck.
Do you remember what time you were talking this would have happened in the library? Do you remember what time that conversation would have happened?
I don't, because I know school let out around 2:15, so it was probably around 2:30.
Because you had said you got out of school earlier than other people, so were you there, were you at the library before 2:15?
Oh yeah, I had been at the library for a few hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was pretty sick when Derek showed up, and you know, and he asked me who Adnan was, and young teenager boy, which he's like, who the hell is that?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, don't even start with me, because you're a few hours late. Don't worry about who that is, you know? I remember that day because that was the day that it snowed.
Were there snow days after that? Do you remember?
I want to say there was, because that was I think that was like the first snow of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have even remembered if it hadn't have been for the snow and the whole, you know, I just remember being so pissed about Derek being late and then getting snowed in at his house when it was the first snow of that year.
The snow is important. He disappeared on Wednesday. That night there was a huge ice storm, which is unusual around. It ended up being a state emergency, and school was closed for the rest of the week. Asia started asking me questions about the case. Wasn't there DNA evidence? And what exactly was Jay's part in the whole thing? She wasn't sure Adnan was guilty. She said things I've not heard from so many people since. He seemed like he cared about her. He didn't seem angry or upset. I thought there was more proof.
Even that day, it I didn't walk away thinking like, oh, I just started something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to make his innocence off of his composure at that moment, I would say he's innocent, but I mean, I'm 32 years old now, and I know that, there's people out there capable of heinous acts that can keep a calm demeanor,
Yeah.
and I know that there are people who flip out on a moment's notice and do something that, they regret for the rest of their life. So don't really.
Yeah.
Even now, it would be nice if there was some technicality, something that would prove his innocence. Great, one less evil person I've met in all of it.
But I think Asia, like, you might be that technicality. Do you see what I mean? Like, if you're saying you saw him on this day at that time, that means the state's timeline for their whole theory of the case doesn't make any sense.
It's supposed to.
Because they're saying he was in the car with her at the very time that you're saying, no, I saw him at the library and we were talking. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's exactly the window where they're saying she was murdered.
In case you couldn't hear that, it was a sigh, and I completely understand that sigh. How I feel a lot of the time. Because I talk to Adnan regularly, and he just doesn't seem like a murderer. A few minutes after I hung up with Asia, Adnan called and said here.
Hey, Sarah. How you doing?
I'm good. So I was just talking to Asia McLean.
Okay.
You don't sound very excited.
I really,
This was not the reaction I expected. I felt like I just interviewed an ivy-billed woodpecker. But when I told Adnan what Asia remembered, instead of being excited, Adnan said it was heartbreaking.
on a personal level, I'm happy because that I'm not making this up. And at least if nothing else, it kind of like, at least someone other than Nadia knows that, this did take place. Anything that can kind of support what I'm saying to be true, that I didn't do this, is great. But from a legal perspective, it's like, I wish she would have came to this realization maybe like a year and a half ago. You know what I mean?
Robbie I had talked to Asia, she immediately burst into tears. Because they were all correct. It was too late. The judge ruled on Yvonne's petition a few weeks before I spoke to Asia. Denied. The judge wrote in his opinion that Christina Gutierrez's decision not to use Asia McLean as an alibi witness was strategic. After all, Asia's original letters didn't specify an exact time, and Gutierrez could have reasonably concluded that Asia was offering to lie in order to help Adnan. And finally, he wrote, Asia's letter contradicted Adnan's own alibi. Asia says she saw him at the public library, but Adnan said he was on the school campus the whole afternoon. Maybe the judge didn't understand that the Woodlawn Library is basically part of the campus. Anyway. Asia's story, then, is legally worthless. The witness who says she saw you at the exact moment when the state contends you were strangling a young man in a car is worthless. A few days after I spoke to Asia, she wrote me an email. I've been thinking a lot about Adnan, she wrote. All this time I thought the courts proved it was Adnan that killed her. I thought he was where he deserved to be. Now I'm not so sure. Hay was our friend too, and it sucks feeling like you don't know who really killed your friend. Hay was the sweetest person ever. If you didn't kill Hay, we owe it to him to try to make that clear. And if you did kill her, then we need to put this to rest. I just hope that Adnan isn't some sick bastard just trying to manipulate his way out of jail. I wrote back, believe me, I'm on exactly the same page.
Interesting story, right? So interesting.
Maybe I think maybe he was set up. I think he was set up somehow.
Clearly to go. Something was good and it wasn't good. And it was just straight behavior for anybody.
Basically threatened me, like, you know what happened to Hay, this is what's gonna happen to you. That's how I felt that day.
What are you thinking right now? You have the same smile I do.
I'm really thinking, could he have gone crazy?
Shay's 22 is being blackmailed by Adnan. Said that Adnan originated from the police.
Like, if this works, I mean, every question we've had for the past 8 months, he knows it.
Yeah, I mean, when we walked in it, I was like, running out of suspects.
Serial produced by Julie Snyder, Dana Chivas, and me. Emily Condon is our production and operations manager. Ira Glass is our editorial advisor. Editing help from Nancy Updike. Fact-checking by Karen Cabela-Smith. Special thanks to Lee Teddy, Stan Maurice, Seth Lynn, Elise Ferguson, and the entire staff of This American Life. And to my in-laws, Ethan Schreier and Jenna Levine, for putting me up in Baltimore so many times in the past year. Support for Serial comes from MailChimp, celebrating creativity, chaos, and teamwork since 2001. MailChimp, send better email. Serial's a production of This American Life and WBEZ Chicago.
I'm gonna play episode 2. What the heck?
What a great narration.
What do you say?
It's a very good narrating skill
Yeah.
that the lady has.
Right. Right, I guess I have to collect episode 2 myself. But what's crazy, this came out once a week when it was airing. So I had to wait each week for it to come out. I was like, oh my god, I just binged it. Yeah, I was like, this is great. As you can tell, like, it's so interesting. So it's like, you're like rooting for Adnan. You're like, oh my god, bro, please be.
And the trouble with Spam is that you
Netflix star Tyler Henry, the Hollywood
innocent, bro.
bringing his live show, an evening of hope and healing.
We're all rooting for you.
This nearly sold-out North American tour is an astounding evening of live audience readings filled with cheers and laughter. Tyler Henry, the Hollywood Medium, August 26th at Ruth Eckerd Hall. Tickets are on sale now at rutheckerdhall.com. Don't miss this live evening of hope and healing with Tyler Henry.
This is Sarah Koenig, host of the Serial Podcast. If you're hooked on this show, and I'm guessing you are, then I'm hoping my job here is pretty easy. To get you to subscribe to the New York Times, so you can listen to the rest of it.
Sarah, stop being a freaking salesman. Oh my gosh.
No cuss words. So here goes. Serial shows are expertly recorded and invented.
There better not be any commercials, I swear.
The great serials aside, when you subscribe, you get all the kind of shows. The Daily, Edge of Crime, Wirecutter has a new podcast. My advice though, don't just get an audio subscription. Go big. Subscribe to the paper, all access, the whole Manila. Serial is part of the Times, so technically I work at the Times, and honestly I'm kind of cheap, but I subscribe. For the news, obviously, and the game.
They don't give you a free subscription? What do you mean, Sarah? Crazy.
The Times is a staple. Even my kids, who are not budding journalists and who don't even know to listen to Serial, they both ask me for Times subscriptions. All the cool kids are doing it. So please, sign up. You can do it through Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or if you're already a Times subscriber, sign in. It's worth it.
Is it?
Previously on Serial.
So he wanted an alibi. Yes. I mean, the only thing I can say is, man, it was just a normal day. There was absolutely nothing abnormal about that day.
She was concerned because she was being asked questions about an affidavit she'd written.
Even though it'd be nice if there was some technicality, but then that was presented. Great.
But I think Asia, like, you might be that technicality.
Could have been that technicality, Asia. Jeez. Too freaking late. Adnan Syed. I don't know how I remember that part. That's how often I listen. I listen to it every single day, like just listening to it over and over. And then I would try to like tell people about the show so much. Like, you gotta watch this or listen to it.
But if you haven't, stop. Go back to the beginning. We're telling this story in order, the story of Hangman Lee, an 18-year-old girl who was killed in Baltimore in 1999. From the story of Adnan Syed, her ex-boyfriend who was convicted at the time. So to pick up where we left off, last episode you heard how the prosecution...
What do you think? You think Adnan's guilty?
And the motive the state supplied, the basis for the whole thing, was that after Hay broke up with the
I don't think he's guilty.
He seems kind of innocent.
And so furious that he decided to kill her. Prosecutor Kevin Urich told the jury in his opening statement, quote, he became enraged. He felt betrayed that his honor had been besmirched, and he became very angry, and he set out to kill Hangman Lee. Or this is from closing, quote, it was humiliating what she did to him. Make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, this was not a crime about love. This was a crime about pride. But is that what their relationship and breakup were really like? Was he so hurt that he decided to kill her? That's what I'm trying to find out in today's episode. By talking to lots of people who knew her in their mind, most of their friends, who they were a close-knit group. Some of them known each other since elementary school. And even though they went to a big, tough high school, Hay and Adnan and their friends were clumped together in a magnet program, and about 30 kids, kind of school within the school. And they all took classes together and hung out together, and they dated each other. So they knew each other well. And the other information I had to get are Hay's own words about their relationship, because I had a copy of her diary. It was entered into evidence at trial, read by many
That's crazy.
prosecutors, even Adnan. What's remarkable about the diary, and what makes it so helpful, is that it's essentially a chronicle of the Adnan era of Hay's life. The first entry is April 1st, 1998, right when they started dating. And the last entry is dated January 12th, the day before she went missing. And in all those months, what she's mostly writing about is Adnan. To get the bookend Hay and Adnan's rumors, you put a school dance right at the beginning, and then another one right at the end. The first dance was junior prom. Adnan and his best friend had a little competition going about who could get the prettiest prom date that year. Someone said Adnan should ask Hay to go, so one day after sports practice in the little hall behind the school, he asked her to come in, and she said yes. On April 27th, she wrote a long entry in her diary about prom night. And the diary, by the way, I'm not exactly sure what I expected her diary to be like, but it's such a teenage girl's diary. She jumps from her boyfriend to driver's ed to the field hockey game. She's ugly one minute, and the next she's upset with another, or gets into pride or complaining about homework. So, prom night. She writes about Adnan. Quote, I swear he was the sweetest guy. Let me tell you why. He was prom friend, and Stephanie was prom princess. And traditionally they were supposed to dance together, to my song, Casey and JoJo's All My Life. I try to act natural and unjealous, but it did kind of bother me. 10 seconds later, Jesse danced with me and not with Stephanie. At 9. Now, how can I not fall in love with this guy? Of course, I gave him a first kiss on the lips. Then I totally fell in love with him. Since then, I keep on falling deeper and deeper into him. The bad thing is that we have to keep things secret. So, but it's okay, because love conquers all.
For a while, I was like noticing I was boring out to like make fun of her about it.
That's Aisha Pittman. She was in the magnet program too. Claire was her best friend.
She would like show me moves that they shared, and then it just progressed from there. But it was a relationship that was constantly secret because neither of our families knew about it, so that just created much more of a like her saying, "I'm gonna be at your house," but really I'm going out with him, kind of thing. Or she would tell her parents she was at your house, yeah, or others, primarily mine. Just a lot of that sort of secrecy around it.
We had a lot of, I guess, we had a lot of real similar types of situations with our families.
That's a run. Since he and Hay both had immigrant parents, they understood the expectations and the constraints. Do well in school, go to college, take care of your younger brother, and for Adnan, no girls. If a female friend loaned his car, for instance, she'd have to make sure not to leave any known hairs behind. Or if a girl made Adnan around him, she'd have to drop him off down the block so his parents wouldn't see who's at the wheel.
You know, it was really easy to date someone that kind of lived within the same parameters that I did with regards to, she didn't have the expectation of me coming to her house for dinner with her family. She understood that, if she was to call my house and go speak to her mother, probably I would get in trouble, and vice versa. So we would have to kind of set up our talk. So usually we would talk later at night, when our parents were sleeping.
They had a whole system for this. One would page the other when the post was clear. Remember, it's 1998, so not many cell phones around. Then that person would call some 1-800 service, like the weather or the time, and the other one would call in so that the phone wouldn't actually ring. It would come in through call waiting. And the Disney parents would never be able to hear. At the trial, the state tried to paint the picture of Islam as possessive of her, as controlling. When I spoke to his closest friends about that, a couple of them did say that he seemed to be over-involved with her somehow. But they couldn't come up with any examples. Few people remember the time when Adnan showed up uninvited to a girls' trip to an amusement park. Aisha Pittman was one of them. She remembers nothing positive about their relationship anymore. Though by her own admission, she doesn't know what her memories of time by it came later.
I think it was probably mostly normal, but things that, like, he kind of just always generally annoyed me because just the constant paging her if she was out. He was like, "No, I just want to know where you were." And so I told you where I was going to be. But she was at my house and we were having a girls' night. He would stop by, like he would walk over and try to come hang out. It's like, have some space. And it's one of those things, at first, it's like, oh, it's so cute, your boyfriend's dropping by, but then the 10th time, it's like, really? Did Hay ever seem freaked out by it? No, but I don't think I was ever freaked out by it in the moment.
Here's Hayes' take on all those impromptu visits that we keep talking about. On July 16th, she writes, Adnan dropped by Isha's late, with carrot cake. So, yeah, Hay does not describe Adnan as overbearing or possessive in his hours. But she does mention a couple of moments when she's mad at him, like, quote, "How dare you get mad at me for playing to hang with Isha?" Or a time when he was nasty to her because she didn't respond to his messages fast enough. But mostly these incidents seem to be put to test. Quote, "I'm in a real bitch attitude and Adnan is not helping," she writes on June 15th. "He hasn't called me since 12:30 this afternoon and he's definitely pushing me to the edge. I think I'm going to take a fight," unquote. Hayes' friends say she had a strong personality, strong opinions. She had her shoulder. When she was pissed at Adnan, she let him know. But by far, the majority of her diary entries are about how much she likes and loves him. I stopped counting. There were so many wonderfuls and sweetest and best boyfriends in the world. Mostly I heard stuff like this from my friends. Here's Becky Klein. Back then she was Becky Walker.
Just a silly teenage high school relationship. I remember
a lot of teasing and a lot of, hand holding, arms around each other. I don't really remember anything weird or anything that stands out. They hung around all that summer before senior year. They meet up after work and ride around. They were 17, they were in love, they were active, they had sex whenever and wherever possible, sometimes at motels or in a car or a park or at other people's houses or apartments. Sometimes they fight and then they quickly make up. A couple of times, Hay called it off, but then would ask for him back after a day or 2 or 3. Remember, the setup for this plan that the state laid out was that Anand was betraying everything he held dear for this girl. As a good Muslim, he was not supposed to be dating. And so he was sacrificing his religion and lying to his family, all just so he could be with her. And it twisted him up inside. And Hayes' diary seems to be where they found some evidence for that. In fact, they had a friend of his, Debbie Warren, read excerpts from it on witness stand. Quote, I like him. No, I love him, she wrote at trial, dated May 15th. Quote, it's just all the things that stand in the middle. His religion and Muslim customs are the main thing. It irks me to know that I'm against his religion. He called me a devil a few times. I know he was only joking. It's somewhat true. And then there's this, which wasn't read at trial, but is from July when Adnan went to an Islamic conference in Texas with his dad. This is the most distressed Hay gets on the topic. When I read it, I thought, ooh, this does not look so good for Adnan. Quote, I keep crying over the phone because I miss him so much, she writes. He told me that his religion means life to him. He tried to remain a faithful Muslim all his life, but he fell in love with me, which is a great sin. So he told me there is no way he'll ever leave me, because he can't imagine a life without me. Then he said that one day he would have to choose between me and his religion. I love him so much, and when it comes to choosing, I'm going to let him go his way. I hate the fact that I'm the cause of his sin. He said that I shouldn't feel like I'm throwing him away from his religion, but hello, that's exactly what I'm doing. So, yeah, anytime someone's writing stuff down like sin and devil and religion means life in reference to their secret relationship, that's not good. But ask the Muslim in question about it, and it all sounds so much smaller.
I may have said it as a joke. Like, oh man, hey, I can't, I'm going to hell if I'm dating you or something, but I never meant it in the type of way that it seems that she took it.
Adnan claims he just wasn't that religious. He was going to clubs and having sex with girls and smoking weed from the time he was 14 or 15. Culturally, yes, a Muslim, but the rest, he says, not so much. So passages like this, he says he doesn't really recognize himself in them.
I never really felt it that, man, hey, it's turning me away from my religion. And I never, only till I read her diary that I really kind of understood that, wow, this is a perception that she kind of had. Just like the gravity and the magnitude with which she took these things, I didn't really feel that way about these things. Maybe it seems convenient for me to say that now, but the only thing I can say to kind of, I won't say prove it in a way, is that my behavior didn't change once I stopped, once they broke up with me, or once, we broke up or whatever. It's not like, all of a sudden I'm like, okay, this whole big sin is out of my life. No, it's just, I just continue with the same type of behavior with different people.
Religious stuff aside, the state said Adnan was guilt-ridden over lying to his family about her. But he says he wasn't all that bothered by that. He figured he was a pretty good kid. He was doing well in school, his job, he was volunteering at the mosque. Why shouldn't he have concern? In the pantheon of ways a teenager could have been disrespectful or deceitful to his parents, he thought this rated pretty low.
Yeah, my name is Shami Rahman, and I'm the mother of Adnan Saeed.
Adnan did most of his lying to his mother. She figured out something was up pretty early on. She found Adnan's crown and phone in the basement when he tried to stash it along with his text. Shamim came to the United States in 1976. Her husband was already here working as an engineer for the state of Maryland. She's from Peshawar in Pakistan, where you do not date. You are either married or unmarried. That was her middle ground. So Adnan's girl contact put Shamim in a state of high alert. She would check the mileage on his car to see if he'd driven farther than he said. She eavesdropped and talked to girls on the phone. And I know this makes Shamim sound horrifying, but she's not at all. She adores Adnan, her middle son.
Yeah, he would talk to me because I would pick up the phone. You know when you say like, Mom, hang up the phone?
He'd say, Mom, I know you're listening to me.
Yes, I said, no, I'm here. He said, no, stop, you're not listening to us here.
And with that conflict, I mean, it must have been sort of constant.
Of course, yeah, because for me it was unacceptable. So we used to argue like, I say, no, you cannot do that, you cannot. If you like somebody, it's all right, you can get married, but not without marriage, you cannot. Of course, me and Adnan had a problem.
And his father was a little more loose about it.
Well, my whole family was, even my oldest son, he said, Mom, everybody is doing it. Even my husband said, the father boys are doing it. I said, no, not my children.
Adnan wasn't getting punished for any of this. It wasn't as if he were left with keep out of the house. More like he was being reminded of his responsibilities, both at home and at his mother's request by his youth leader at the most. Then came the homecoming dance in the fall of senior year. Adnan and he had been together for about 7 months by now. This dance would become a big deal at trial, proof of just how fraught their whole relationship was, and how tormented Adnan was about his double life. Here's what happened. Adnan's parents got wind that very night that he had taken Hay to homecoming. Adnan says this kind of thing happens in the community all the time. Someone sees someone else's kid at a dance or at the mall, and before you can even hide behind a padded plant, 4 aunties are on the phone to the kid's mother. Anyway, this time, Adnan's parents did not wait to deal with it at home. They showed up at the dance and chastised them, made a scene. The prosecutors argued that this scene would come to haunt him until the day he killed Paul.
Let me know if you need like a stretch break or anything. If you're done okay.
She says Adnan strangled her. What is it that this defendant saw on January 13th when he looked down at Haley? And she lists a couple of things and he says this. Quote, he saw his parents standing at the window of the homecoming dance. He saw his mother raise her voice at Haley in front of his classmates. Look what you're doing to our family. He saw the pain in his mother's face because she knew they were together. And he saw himself, in the end, standing there with nothing to show for it but a guilty conscience and a pack of lies in which he cloaked himself. Now, compare that with how Adnan's best friend Saad remembers the homecoming debacle.
Comes home at like 11 p.m.
Were you allowed to go to homecoming?
We didn't have homecoming in India.
No.
But India is a lot more relaxed. It's not like... So, Islamic religion generally is a lot more strict. But even in Pakistan, everyone dates.
Yeah.
What they're describing is in the extreme religious family.
Oh, really?
Not generally. Also, the American Pakistanis are a lot... And American Indians,
Yeah.
they're more conservative than Indian Indians and Pakistan.
Really?
Yeah, because they left with like old school mentality.
Oh, okay.
So and they never evolved. They try to hold on to what was before. Now no one cares.
Yeah.
Except if you belong to a very strict family.
Okay.
But even then, the most important thing is, can you make your own money?
Okay.
If you can make your own money, no one can control you. And a lot of these kids are they're dependent on their family's finances, so they can't escape.
Exactly.
Adnan would have known how to strangle someone. She would have had the training to revive them. Adnan, again, he says he was proud of being certified. He got the highest score in the qualifying test of anyone in his class, and a real job as a result. He liked old people, and his job was mostly to ride in the back of the ambulance with old people, make sure they were okay. In the detective's notes, they interviewed Adnan's English teacher, Jane Exline, who apparently tells them, quote, Adnan had a dark side, which is in his poetry. The words dark side are underlined.
Crazy.
And the background?
It was like all the teenagers that I taught, because everything in their lives was dark. I don't remember any of them having anything upbeat to say. So he was just...
It's a poetry class. What do you mean? That's crazy. They could even be making it up.
Playing and being stupid.
So it didn't stick out in some way. It was just like all teenagers, right? Broody, dramatic type.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? All this information, every scrap, its currency for whatever side you're on. It's spin. And the trouble with spin is that you can't totally disregard it.
Crazy.
Somewhere inside, some tendril of it is true. Saad Chowdhury thinks Adnan is innocent, so for him, the homecoming story is also innocent. He didn't write about homecoming in her diary, but Aisha says it wasn't funny to her. It was a big deal. Aisha remembers Adnan's parents going to find Hay so they could talk to her, which of course Hay wanted nothing to do with.
So that we could leave the dance and not be harassed by his parents, that she walked out holding hands with my friend Sean to get away from it, and she just felt like that was a completely ridiculous thing, and she was super pissed. I mean, that, I think that for her was I absolutely don't want to be with this person at all because this is what happens.
On November 3rd, Hayward in her diary wrote, "Who would have thought we would end like this? Who would have imagined the amount of pain that comes with a broken heart? I know I'm doing the right thing. Call me selfish, but this pain is way less than what it would be if we stayed together." Then, apparently they reunited because exactly a month later, on December 3rd, she's full of love for a man again. Quote, "This feels so real, so loving, and ever so amazing. I can't be any happier, but yet I keep on being happier." But then, just 3 days later, there's this, on December 6th. Quote, "What's the matter with me? Every time I close my eyes, I see my baby, but I keep on thinking about someone else. Don." Faye has got a crush on Don, an older guy who's 20, whom she works with at lens practice at the Owens Mills Mall. Don has blue eyes and blonde hair and a Camaro, and she really, really likes him. For the next couple of weeks, she's racked with guilt and confusion over what to do. At one point, she writes a Don's name in giant block letters made out of tiny little lines, and underneath that, there's the same thing as Don, in giant letters made up of tiny dots. On another page, she writes Don's name 127 times. 127 Don. It's not clear from the diary when she finally tells a Don it's over, but certainly by Christmas they were split. On New Year's Day, Hay has her first official date with Don, and they start going out. Hay is head over heels. Aisha remembers meeting him on a double date to Friday's restaurant, and then to see the movie Shakespeare in Love.
It was the most awkward double date in the world because he was older. I forget how old he was, but he was significantly older than us, and my boyfriend was 2 years younger, so it was just a horrible double date. Like, you're out with one man and one boy. Yeah. It did.
This is where the real questions begin. All the most important questions about Adnan, about how he responded to this breakup and to the fact that Asian conflict. Because the whole premise of the state's case against Adnan is that he felt betrayed and humiliated and angry, and that's why he killed her. This idea came from Jay, their main witness. It was Jay who supplied the motive to police. Here's tape of Jay being interviewed by Detective Gregory Gilligan.
What did he tell you?
He told me that she had broke his heart. It was extremely wrong for anyone to treat him that way. That he couldn't believe how she stood and looked him face to face and told him she didn't love him and could be that heartless. And
I'ma kill that bitch.
almost
Jay. Crazy. Freaking Jay, man.
No.
But he told you he was going to tell you.
Yeah.
Because she had broken his heart.
Yeah.
But nearly everyone I spoke with, Adnan's friends and teachers, say he took the breakup like anyone would. Adnan's friend Mac Francis said Adnan was initially devastated and jealous about the new boyfriend. Then he grumbled about it in a typical guy way, nothing strange. Everyone I talked to said some version of this, and he wasn't rage-filled or vindictive. He was just sad.
It really did seem like run-of-the-mill, mundane teenage angst.
That's Donna Paoletta Phillips. She taught Adnan and Hay AP psychology, and I've known them both since they were freshmen. In her job, she's seen a lot of high school breakups.
But the level of frustration he must have felt if he killed her doesn't register with me. I don't remember getting that vibe from him. He was just another kid whose heart was broken. And goodness, if I thought that the kids I teach today were going to resort to some kind of horrific crime based on that kind of thing, I would have stopped teaching. Because it happens really well. It would be.
Adnan's friend Saad said Adnan definitely wasn't mean over Hay.
When they had broke up, Adnan and Hay had broke up, it'd been like a month, or maybe more. She had already started dating another guy, and I was like, Adnan's dating multiple girls. I was like, I can tell you some of the girls that he's dating. I was like, he is not upset about him and Hay breaking up. I was like, he's dating this girl, Anjali in Philly, that he's been going to see. this girl, and I know it wasn't like great proof, but it was still proof that he wasn't obsessed with her. He wasn't. I was like, I tried to explain that. I'm 17, like, he's a player. He has a lot of girls. I was like, he's talking to most. I am too.
He was cute and charming. He was just a pretty sweet guy. Very flirtatious.
Sorry, Sal, she's not talking about you. This is Anjali, the girl employee, and she confirmed, yep, a couple of visits, they made out, nothing too serious. On New Year's Eve, Adnan met another girl, Nisha, from Silver Spring, Maryland, and he started calling her a lot, too. And then from Mac remembered Adnan making out with another friend of theirs at a party that same night. So yeah, a player. Adnan himself describes the breakups with her as fairly rational events.
Each time that we broke up, or each time, let me say that each time that she ended the relationship or took a break, it was never a thing where I was like pestering her or like going to her house, knocking on the door or chasing her down. Look, I want to get back with you, I want to get back with you. Because of the part, there was a part of me that knew that, man, what she's saying just makes sense. So, yeah, so pretty much we were just friends, we would talk about things, like she would tell me about someone that she had met at her job, a guy named Don, and she was like, she really liked him, and
You have 30 seconds remaining.
can I call you back, or?
Yeah, call me back. That's the prison phone system telling us our time is up. Happens every half hour. Surprises me every time, because I can sort of forget where he is. Wait, so you're making the breakups sound very, kind of calm and mutual and like nobody got upset. But, I mean, is that true, or was there like crying and the usual teenage angst over it?
Well, mine's now that we talked, 15 years later, I mean, she was upset, I was upset, times where I was very sad, and maybe I would kind of be like a little stubborn about it. But no, we can make it work, our parents will be cool, whatever. But on the other hand, there was never a thing where I was like, screaming, yelling at her, why are you leaving me? Or, so, just to say that, just kind of dispel that was never my behavior, at all.
It is true that no one at the time described Adnan as acting obsessed or menacing in any way, not even Aisha. And in her diary, Hay never expresses any concerns about Adnan's post-breakup behavior. In fact, she writes about a time just before Christmas, so after they've broken up, when she gets into a little car accident and calls up Adnan to come get her from work. Both Dawn, her new crush, and Adnan look at the car together and decide it's unsafe to drive, so Adnan takes her home. Apparently it was all very cordial. Even Dawn said so. He wouldn't talk to me for this story, but he testified at the trial. At this point, I'm going to say flat out that I don't buy the motive for this murder, at least not have a serious murder. I just don't see it. Not one person says he was acting strangely after they broke up. He and Hay, again by all accounts, were still friends. He was interested in other girls. He was working at his job. He was headed to college. About 2 weeks after his arrest, he gets an orientation packet from the University of Maryland. I don't think he was some empty shell of a kid who betrayed his family and his religion and was now left with nothing and conjured up a murderous rage for a girl who broke his heart. I simply don't buy it. And the reason I don't buy it is because no one who knew him, then or now, says that's how it was. I want to be clear, though, that doesn't mean he wouldn't do it. It just means that so far, I think the state's story about why he killed her doesn't hold up. Maybe it was more of a spur-of-the-moment thing. Maybe despite the other girls he was running after, he was privately stewing about her. After all, she was apparently still flirting with him after they broke up, still paging him with loving messages. She bought him an expensive jacket that Christmas. Maybe he thought he still had a chance with her. Like their friend Debbie told me, maybe once Dawn came on the scene, he thought, that's a slap in the face. How dare you continue to lead me on like this? The night before Hay disappeared, Adnan called her from his cell phone 3 times. The first 2 calls at 11:27 p.m. and 12:01 a.m. were only 2 seconds each. The third call at 12:35 a.m. lasted a minute and 24 seconds. Adnan says he was probably calling to give her his new cell phone number. He just got his phone the day before. And indeed, in the top left corner of her diary, she'd written down the number. According to Dawn's testimony, she'd been at his house that night, which is probably why Adnan's first 2 calls ended so fast. She probably wasn't home yet. Her very last diary entry, dated January 12th, is brief. I love you, Don. I think I found my soulmate. I love you so much. I fell in love with you the moment I opened my eyes to see you in the break room for the first time. There is one detail about the day he went missing that I need to tell you about. A detail that doesn't look good for Adnan. And that detail has to do with when Adnan tried to get in Hayes' car right after school. Because that is what the state would allege, that Adnan fabricated a reason to get in her car that afternoon, so he could kill her. Jay had told police that was Adnan's plan.
Does he tell you how he's going to do it that day?
No, but he tells me that, he's gonna do it in her car. He said to me that he was going to, tell her his car was broken down and, ask her for a ride.
So what do we know about the end of that day, a Wednesday, January 13th? Hay and Adnan had a couple classes together, first period, and also last period, AP Psychology with Miss Palin. That's when Aisha last saw Hay, at the end of psychology. She was talking to Adnan. Then their friend Debbie remembers seeing Hay on her way to her car. She told Debbie she had to get her cousin from school and then was going to see Don at the mall. The very last person to see Hay at school that day, you'd think, was Inez Butler Hendricks. Inez ran a little concession stand right at the gym entrance, and Hay would come by every day and get the same thing, a very fine apple juice and hot fries. That day, she drove up in front of the gym where the concession stand was, and left her car running.
So she came around the circle, parked her car right there, jumped out, and ran in to get something to drink and to tell the bus not to leave him.
The bus was for the boys' wrestling team. Hay was manager, and they had a match later that afternoon that Hay was supposed to go to.
And you didn't see her again after that?
No, I didn't see her. No.
Was Adnan anywhere near her car?
No, I didn't see any of the car.
Okay, so no one actually testified at trial that they saw Hay and Adnan leave school together. And no one, aside from Jay, says they spotted Adnan in her car at any time that afternoon. Adnan has no recollection of having asked him for a ride anywhere. We've talked about it many times. Here's what he said the very first time I asked him.
Get some red, and then I want to do some white, some spots, and also some more black. So let me actually finish some more black and some spots.
The trouble for Adnan is that a couple of their friends said he did ask him for a ride. One of them was his friend Krista.
If I remember correctly, I think Adnan and I had a class together. I think it was Dr. Psychology. And they passed each other in the hallway, and I was with him. I remember somebody saying, or him saying something about, can you give me a ride after school?
Their friend Becky told police she heard something about a ride as well.
I do remember that there was talk about it. I felt like he asked her to give him a ride somewhere.
Okay. Can I just read to you what the police notes say? It's April 9th, 99, they interviewed you. So it says, sometime earlier that day, apparently he asked you to take him possibly to get car before lunch because it was in the shop. Heard about it at lunch. So it means I think you heard about it at lunch.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Hayes said she could, there would be no problem. At end of school, I saw them. She said, oh no, I can't take you, I have something else to do. She didn't say what else. Approximately 2:20, so that happened at approximately 2:20. He said, okay, I'll just ask someone else. He told her goodbye. And then he said, did not see her after that.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds right. It kind of all comes back a little bit.
So Krista and Becky both remembered, and while Becky's recollection maybe works in Adnan's favor, that Hay turned them down for allowing him to see cool with that, the question is still there. Was he trying to get in her car? Did he ask for a ride, just like Jay said? And in fact, the most damning evidence in support of Jay's statement doesn't even come from Krista or Becky. It comes directly from Adnan, because he himself told the cops the same thing that day.
This time the state would call police officers got text to the scene.
Around 6:30 p.m., after he had gone missing, a Baltimore County police officer named Scott Adcock called Adnan's cell phone. His family was worried that she had returned up to her cousin's school, and the officer was calling around some of her friends to see if they knew where she was. Here's Adcock testifying at trial.
I spoke to Mr. Syed, and he advised me that he did see the victim in school that day, and that he was supposed to get a ride home from the victim, but he got detained at school and he just got tired of it and left.
Then, a little more than 2 weeks after the call with Officer Adcock, on February 1st, by this time the search for her had ramped up, a different detective calls, asks him out about the ride home, asks him, did you tell Officer Adcock you'd asked paid for a ride? According to the police report, quote, Adnan said this was incorrect because he drives his own car to school. So, he reverses himself. Why would he do that? Why would he tell the first cop he was expecting a ride, and then once it's clear he was missing, change his story? Maybe the girls were thinking of a different day, or maybe Adnan misspoke when he talked about first cop. Or maybe he did ask her for a ride at some point that day that he's forgotten. Or maybe he's lying. I'm not a detective, but I consider this a red flag. What I don't know is this a teeny tiny red flag, or he just got confused and so what? Or is this like a great big flapping in the breeze red flag? That maybe he's hiding something. More next week. The serial is produced by Julie Snyder, Daniel Chivas, and me. Emily Coleman is our production and operations manager. Ira Glass is our editorial advisor. Editing help from Nancy Updike. Fact-checking by Karen Fidella Smith. Special thanks to Lee Teddy, Bill Levis, and Terry O'Connor. Support for Serial comes from MailChimp, celebrating creativity, chaos, and teamwork since 2009. MailChimp.
Celebrating creativity, chaos.
Serial is a production of This American Life and WBEZ Chicago.
I hate when this show ends every time. I'm like, why is it over? Keep going. And I don't know if the next episode is free anymore. Because literally, this is new. They didn't do that before.
Netflix star Tyler Henry, the Hollywood medium, is bringing his
I listened to the whole thing.
Evening of Hope and Healing to you. This nearly sold-out North American tour is an astounding.
This just tells you before they realized podcasting was such a cool thing.
Tyler Henry,
Oh my God,
the
people love
Hollywood
this
medium.
stuff. Let's
August
church.
26th at Ruth Eckerd Hall. Tickets are on sale now at rutheckerdhall.com. Don't miss this live evening of hope and healing with Tyler Henry.
So you want to go like dark red, something like this, or you want to go lighter?
The darkest you can have.
The darkest? Are you
Yeah.
sure?
What do you think?
I think it should be a little lighter, so that
You
way
think
you can
like this?
tell. That way you can tell it's wine.
Like this?
Yeah, you can go like this, and then you go light. Like you can always make it darker, but you can't go lighter if it's too dark.
Got it. Okay.
And I mean, this is still kind of dark
Yeah.
pigment. I just want it to at least be noticeable that it's still red.
Yes. It's looking very nice.
Yeah. It's over. Yeah, it's not gonna give us a third one. That sucks. Oh my gosh, that sucks so bad. I really like this guy. He makes really good podcasts too.
I have listened to TL. Oh my.
He has a really deep voice. It's kind of annoying.
This is
Listen to it on the speaker.
I see the sign that says black matcha. I said, black matcha, hold up. Hold up. I ain't never heard of black matcha, but
so popular. It's just the trend is booming right now. And I love matcha. But I'm kind of like a natural contrarian. Not because, some people just want to be different or oppose everything just because they want to be like a jerk. That's not why I do it. I just like balance. When the world is leaning one way, I'm like, hey, the Peter Potter is offset. I like balance, so I would naturally kind of go the other way. So when I saw black matcha, I'm like, this is right up my alley because green matcha is just way too trendy right now. I walked in and tried a black matcha, I'm like, whoa. And I sparked a conversation with the owner. So I'm like, yo, what's going on in here? What was it about? It's different. And I'm looking around, and I look at the products, all these different tea products. And I noticed this label. And I'm like, yo, I ain't never seen this label on a box of tea before. And he's like, yo, you are the first person to notice that. I was like, oh, really? He said, yeah. I'm like, well, that's my gift. And I said, see things and notices. Like the Vision 2020. But he's like, no, like, our tea is, comes from regenerative soil. This is the hardest label to achieve, to get. And what he means is not like, this isn't just like organic, this well surpasses organic. He's like, this label is only one of the brand that has this label for tea. I'm like, wow. He's like, yeah, it's just carefully crafted from the soil. So I'm like, I gotta buy this. I love my tea, I'm a tea connoisseur, I'm a tea lover. I go home and steep it out. I let it brew. Smell it, and I go, yeah, this is different. Take a taste and oh my god, I feel like I could taste the care that was crafted into this tea. I'm like, wow, this brew is so beautiful. This brew is so beautiful. I literally wish I could just like somehow send you a cup. But today is still like a cup because something beautiful is still brewing for you, Something so beautiful is brewing for you. You gotta believe it, you gotta receive it. When you're growing up and you were just like, you're just playing or you're minding your business, and then all of a sudden you get like a whiff of something. You're like, what's that? Cookies? It's like your favorite cookies, or it's your favorite stew or soup, your favorite meal, whatever it may be. Is mom cooking? Is dad cooking? Maybe it's grandma, grandpa, whoever it may be. Maybe it's your best friend's parents. Maybe you're over at their house. I remember my neighbor back in the day. They were Portuguese and they would chef up some of the best seafood. Whole house just, and my mom, she would chef up some amazing Jamaican food. Now, my mom, a white woman from Newfoundland, but she can cook Jamaican food like, whoa. Best Jamaican food in the city that I've had is in my own mother's kitchen. And when I was a kid, I'd be able to smell it from outside, come back into the kitchen to check it out, and you look at the pot and it's like, nope, it's not ready yet. But it's still brewing. And in that moment, you know you are about to eat so good. You just have to be a little patient. The sign is there, the signal is there, you can smell it. Something beautiful is brewing for you. You just have to be willing to receive it when it's ready,
So did you go to Japan by yourself?
I think right now in life, many of us are missing the signals. When this happens, it's all good,
Anything interesting happened while you were there?
I missed my flight back to India.
No!
Because I landed in Haneda, so I thought I was going to go back from Haneda, but I didn't realize my flight was from Narita.
Oh, I flew into Narita. That place is far from Tokyo.
2 hours.
It's like, I'm like, oh my gosh. I didn't know how to take a train to go to Tokyo. Then we got into Tokyo, it was like at night. It's like, alright. No, actually we were in Tokyo, I think we got some ramen first, and then we got to our hotel, and then we went out for the night, and it was already nighttime. I was like, oh, I guess it's already dark.
I was at my therapist the other day, and she's like, yo, Hans, if you could sum up 2024
What do you think about that darkness there?
I like it.
Yeah, right.
It's beautiful, actually. It adds to earthiness.
Yeah, I didn't want to make it too light,
I love a good release just to be, I'm a conversationalist, I like to talk.
Love it.
And healers need healing too.
I need some white.
So I meditated on that question.
I was like, what was 2024 like for me? And I was like, no, 2024 was the year of the furnace. I feel like it chopped me up. Threw me in a pot, turned the heat up on high, and cooked me so good. Wasn't easy. But I told her, you know what? It wasn't meant to break me. It was a beautiful brew that released new hues and flavors out of my spirit. It gave me the opportunity to know myself on levels I didn't even know existed. It got me ready. You know, it's like in pottery. You ever try pottery? Yo, first off, when I went and tried pottery for the first time, I was humbled. I don't know why, but I always just felt like, oh, I'm gonna do pottery and I'm just gonna be good at it. Like back in the day when I started getting creative, I was like really just, I would start something and be able to do it, you know, and like get good at it really quick. I remember even an old friend one time was just like, yeah, you just know how to do shit. You're just good at shit. So I kind of just like carried that with me throughout life. But yeah, anything I do, I can do. But for some reason, pottery, I'm like, you know what? I got this. Tell me why I want to try pottery, and I was humbled. Humbled. Clay flying all over the place. My hands are just shaking. I'm just thinking I'm gonna make some beautiful vase or a mug or something beautiful, and then I'm just like, oh my god, this is hard. But then you keep going, you know. And you get on that wheel again and you craft something. Again, you craft a cup, a mug, a vase, something beautiful. And you take your hands off. But you're not even quite done. It has to be put through the furnace. It needs to feel the heat to strengthen it, right? So it can hold what it's meant to carry. So it can be used in whatever way the Creator meant for it to be useful. And many of us are being put through the furnace. So we hold what we are meant to carry. And more life is coming your way, more blessings, abundance, but also responsibility. Help us to influence and understand many of you are going to be leading. Many of us are going to be leaders. And many of us have been put through the furnace, but something so beautiful, I believe, is just doing for us, you know? You know, my favorite items in my home, you know, like to collect little things, you know? Or like my thrifted ceramic pieces, because I stand the test of time. I look back at the last year and I'm like, yeah, sometimes you get put through the furnace so you can stand the test of time. You don't even know what's happening inside of you, but dude, something so beautiful is brewing for you. Maybe you can feel it, but you can't quite name it. Something beautiful is brewing within you. I keep saying it because I want you to meditate on this all day. I want it to be a mantra. I want it to be just sound into your spirit. Repeat it to yourself. Something so beautiful is brewing from me. Something so beautiful is brewing from me. You're not who you were last year. And that's great. And you know, get comfortable with not recognizing yourself because you're expanding and evolving. Oh my god, you're going deeper. You are growing and doing things that are so beautiful, and something so beautiful is brewing within you that you're going to become unrecognizable to others as well. You're not just expanding higher, you're also going deeper. You're going deeper. You might not even be the same person as you were last week. That's the deep you're going. Because you're becoming. It's like you're still in the middle of your own mystery. And many of us, we worry about that. Trying to cling on to something, trying to control something, trying to make sense of this. Not realizing that mystique in itself is beautiful. We need to romanticize those seasons in our life that are full of mystery, you know? I struggle with clarity sometimes because, you know, I'm always like, how do you explain something that's never been done before? Like, how do I explain this? Like, you know, like, I don't even, when people ask me what are you doing, like, I don't even like to say, I podcast, because then it's like, this podcast is a one-on-one, it's very different, it's a completely different experience. I started off the whole short form podcast style, I never even had a guest, like, I don't, to me, I'm almost like, I just feel like it doesn't, you know what I mean, like, how do I explain this, so how do I explain what I do? Struggle with that clarity. But then the other day, someone was like, yo, you like the smooth jazz version of podcasts, and I'm like, I like that. I'm like a podcast artist. But then I realized something. You know, every week, about 3 to 5 times, I look around and I'm
Oh,
just like,
this is
yo, what is
beautiful.
this?
The
Are
way.
we in a simulation?
Yeah, that's cool.
Like, straight up, though, I'm like, are we in a simulation? Like, how did this experience, this existence even come to be? Like, we're all here, just living, just breathing, and we don't even know how it began. Like, was it the chicken first or the egg? Was it fully grown human or was it a baby? Like, what happened? Well, we actually talked about this a lot, and the baby wouldn't make sense, right? Because it wouldn't survive. I
That's
actually
why it
think
is
that an
much
adult
here.
human would
Yeah.
actually
It's gonna it's gonna you know, it's gonna
you know, I guess you can actually say
fade a
that
little
rather
bit.
than
So
created,
that's why I'm using it the way I'm using it.
created them
It's
as
like
like
in certain places
young adults, I
strategically,
imagine, right?
but also in
And then
between the
you know
black,
that
I'm
they
hoping that it
survived
stays
after
pretty
the
well.
system
It
It's
looks
collapsed.
just
beautiful.
yeah.
Right, so I actually think the chicken would have came first, and the chicken would have been created. See, these are my thoughts like 3 to 5 times a week. But anyways, none of us actually know how the universe came to be. Now, someone could say God, and I'm like, okay, great, yeah, like I agree, but like, I want the details. Like, oh, where did God come from? You know, like, I have so many questions. I'm like, the fact that we're making like AI and robots now, and we're making like virtual worlds, and like, is this a simulation? I've been thinking like this since I was like in grade 3, like legit, or before. I have so many questions. But then I realized I have all these questions, but yet I'm still living my life every day, day and night, flying, floating on this rock in space, full of mystery, but we're still moving forward. And I realized, okay, well, even if I lack clarity or purpose, and if I'm confused about what my next move is, I don't need to freak out, I don't need to worry, let's embrace it. Let's dance in the middle of that mystery. You know, look at it like a scavenger hunt. In a movie, in a good book, those are like the best scenes, you know, those are some of the best chapters and this tension. And as a reader and a viewer, you can feel that story building up. You enjoy it. You don't even want to put the book down. You don't even want to turn the movie off because you want to see the breakthrough. You know that something beautiful is brewing. Just like something beautiful is brewing for you. It's coming. It's already happening. The soil is ready, my friend. You just have to learn how to dance in that mystery a little bit more. The nuances of life. Understanding that everything is working for you. Oh, that when it's a bad day, don't worry. The good day is right around the corner. Sometimes you just have to let go. Let God. But sometimes you just have to give up. Just to live up again. You understand? Sometimes you give up trying to control, trying to make sense, so you can fully live again. And understand that something beautiful is brewing in my life right now. You may be stressing like, oh my God, I've been single for so long. I'm never gonna meet my life. Something beautiful is brewing for you. Oh my God, everybody I know just has it figured out. They know what their career is, what their purpose is, and something beautiful is brewing for you. Can you believe in that? Just like you did by looking at everything I got, but it's just not ready yet. Something beautiful is brewing for you. Believe it, receive it. It's coming now. Right now it's time to enjoy that in-between space. You understand? Enjoy it. You know, this past year, there's even moments where I question even sharing my presence further. I questioned if it was necessary. I was like, maybe I'm done. Maybe I did what I came to do. You know? And then also just like the state of the internet and how it shifts and how toxic it is. I'm like, do I really want to be a part of this? There's so much toxicity and then like the way you become a target and like, you know, having like a public profile kind of isolates you in different ways because you don't know who has like the right intentions. You don't know who's gonna make up stuff about you. Even if you're out and about and someone looks at you, you don't know if they recognize. That happens to me all the time. Someone be staring at me and I'm like, what? Why is this person staring at me? Then they come up to me and it's like they recognize me. It's just a weird experience, you know, but it's beautiful, right? I always love when someone comes up to me and they're like, yeah, listen to the podcast. And I'm like, that's kind of how I measure like what I do. If I go, human physical experiences. So if you ever see me in the streets, I feel like I'm clean, you know? But I had to really take time about it. Because I'm like, I know once I put my all in, because I haven't even can I be honest with y'all? I haven't even put my all in. I haven't. I've been holding back. I haven't even given this world what I can give. Because something beautiful is still growing within us, right? But I know if I put my all in, I mean, I'm gonna humbly say this, even though it's gonna sound boasty. I know I'm gonna become a global figure, a global icon. And I had to really take time to think about it. Do I want that type of visibility? And I had to get lost in the weeds of my own mind and on my purpose and having moments I didn't even feel like myself, and I deconstructed everything I built, and I questioned if it was important. Should I do this? And then I realized even when we think we took a wrong turn and we think we're lost, for some reason it's not we're exactly where we're supposed to be. We might
Just
actually
a little bit of shading I want to put underneath the chair right there. It's like a little things I'm starting to see, but it looks awesome for sure.
You're questioning.
I love it.
So it was warm. Something beautiful is going within you. The roots are spreading, even if no one else notices.
You said you wanted to do some shading or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna put a little bit underneath the table.
I think the addition of white is genius.
Yeah, right.
It like elevated that tattoo.
There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just nature.
That's
right?
not a
The
lot, you
rivers,
know, it's just a little
the
bit.
fields,
Yeah.
the lakes, or the oceans, and the moon will be visible at night again. It's just nature doing its thing. We will pass. So do the judgments of others.
And I only really put it on the shiny stuff that I put on the table or anything.
And there's something I often do if I'm getting in my head. Often worry what people would think. Even though that really doesn't happen that much. But I still ask myself, if you were to pass away in 1 week, would you care about these little things that you're stressing about? No. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. And even if people remember you and judge you when you're gone, guess what? They're gonna forget you 6 months later, or they're gonna pass away as well. So I realize all that matters is the present, is our presence, and doing what our highest nature, what our soul is calling us to do. Let it do it. Something beautiful is brewing within you. It's coming, it's happening. I want you to honor and celebrate it. And honor and celebrate the other parts of you too. I want you to celebrate your stillness. Your stillness in the season of becoming. Being able to observe and sit and wait and be patient. And then honor your effort to take another step. The fact that you take another step and you get up and try something beautiful is brewing within you. And I celebrate your resilience to continue to live a life, carve a life like that feels true for you. And that is true beauty. That is true beauty, my friend. Because sometimes the beauty isn't in always what you're wearing, it's not in the hair, it's not in the career, the title, the account. It's simply who you are becoming. And you can look at yourself, at your character, your intrinsic values, your spirit, and be like, oh, I love you. I love you. I was watching this video, and this girl moved to France, and she got married. And at her wedding, her brother did a speech, and her brother just talked about her job and her career and how well she's doing in her career. And I guess the French side of the family, like her husband's family and her husband, thought that was so weird, even like cracking jokes about it for weeks to come. Like, oh, your brother was so fixated on your job. And she's like, yo, out here, it seems like people value more just like the life, the connections, the friends, the family. You ask somebody, what do you do? And it's not like they just automatically reply with their job. She said her husband has a strict rule. He doesn't talk about work at home, not even about that. And I talk about, hey, talk about our love for wine, and let's go for a walk, let's do this, whatever it may be. And I just love that. And there's nothing wrong with feeling proud about our childhood, the years our past, because that is our work as well. Nothing wrong with lighting how we look and celebrating the beauty on the surface. No, but again, we need balance. If we never celebrate the depths of our beauty, well, then our life will lack out. We'll feel a little bit shy. It looks good, but for some reason just never quite feels good. being right.
I think we're done.
Because the truth is,
Here, let me wipe it one more time.
is the beauty.
And then let me take a little picture.
That's the real you. Even the pressure you may feel in
I
the
try not to put like crazy amount of detail on the chairs.
Love
Just
the
wanted
pressure.
to
What
kind
a feeling to feel
have the more
pressure
detail
because
towards the
that pressure you feel is the proof that something beautiful is brewing in you. Many of us are so much stronger this year than we were last year. I did a lot less F's this year compared to last year in a beautiful way.
Can you see it well?
Me and my daughter's resilience this
I was
year.
gonna
We're working on things
put
top tier since last year.
like a light on it or something if you needed it, but you can see pretty well. That's great. Like it.
It's beautiful. What do you think?
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
It took a while, you know.
Thank you.
It's a little small details, but you know, usually those take a while. Are we gonna end this live now?